call the Fremont School Board meeting to order for Wednesday, July 16th at about 5:39. If we could just stand to pledge the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And we'll do a roll call, please. Brian here.
Grace here.
Keen here. Kit here.
All here.
Okay. And any agenda revisions?
Yes, we need to delete 10C.
Okay.
We do not need to make a decision. We have information for you under 8B.
Okay.
So we just covered ourselves by having it in both places.
Okay. And correspondence. I have nothing. Approval of minutes for the meeting of June 25th.
I don't think I have any.
I have a couple things. Bottom of the first page. I can actually give you copies of this,
Judy,
but I want to go over
do
so
you
that
need
they
to
don't.
read this?
Okay, later on at night. because-
Okay.
No, actually, no, I don't. I haven't.
Okay, and I have
Thank you,
copies.
yes.
At the bottom of the first page, it states it was pointed out that social studies and science were in line with the Common Core. It would be more accurate to state it was pointed out that the subjects of social studies and science were included in the writing aspect of the Common Core.
Okay,
And the rest of the sentence deleted, but I'll give you copies of this.
thank you.
Under correspondence, John Safina had sent to the board an email
Okay.
highlighting. Under 11.
Yep.
There was about 100, you don't have to put another 100, just about 100,000 over encumbered in health insurance. And then at the end, after insurance, put at the start of FY14.
Okay,
That'll just clarify that. Ms. Penny, this S should be not capitalized,
Oop.
just below that. Second line of that same paragraph. And page 3, under Cafe Services Contract F, Mr. Kohlhofer remembered that the board had complied
okay,
with the federal government requirement to increase the lunch cost incrementally since the district was not charging enough for lunch prices to meet the basic federal reimbursement rate. That'll be what I give you.
all right,
And then the last sentence, the board could amend the lunch rates if not in compliance with the federal free and reduced lunch law.
okay.
And that was it.
I have no changes. Anybody else? There's a motion to accept as amended.
Motion to accept as amended.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Public input on agenda items. I did get a note from Sue Levine. Did everybody saw that, correct? Okay, so that will be attached to the minutes. I'll give it to you, Sue,
Okay.
to go against the minutes.
Well,
To Sue.
Okay, okay.
And Angela, did you want to add
Yes.
anything? Okay.
Thank you. Angela O'Connell, First Mill Road, Fremont. So there was just two things that I wanted to add. One was actually a question seeking to understand, because I was reading the minutes from the last meeting, or the meeting before that, I was not, or I had to leave earlier. And with the special education, with the departure of Mrs. Grubbs, just trying to understand, like, how's the reorganization happening? I didn't see, I know it was removed. At first it was going to be tabled, and then it was deleted from the agenda. So just trying to understand, like, why was it reorged? How was it reorged? Did she put in a letter of resignation? Or because with all the other departures in the past, it's been kind of discussed a little bit. So, you know, kind of curious to understand that process. So that's one of them. And the other thing was, and I know it's going to be coming up with, as an example, like Mrs. Eichen is, you know, has resigned or is looking to be, you know, released from her contract. And so I just want to say what a loss that is to lose her. She was an amazing teacher. My son had her. I know a few years ago she was nominated as one of the New Hampshire Teachers of the Year. And she is just one of those people who was born to teach, loved the kids, was so hands-on, always found the strengths and the positives in all the children. And I know that we are so trying to get the contract passed. Would that make a difference? I'm not sure, maybe, maybe not. But really, is there anything, any other things that we can do to, if the contracts aren't passing, to incent the teachers, whether it's, you know, based on test scores, or whether it's based on longevity, or something like a bonus, or some type of system to really reward them that's outside of what a contract may be, because in this, you know, in this interim when they don't have a contract, if you will. So I'm just, and I don't know all the legalities over that, but I'm just, it breaks my heart to see someone like her leave, and it's really concerning that there's been some scuttlebutt that there were some other very highly qualified, great teachers who are always concerned as well and looking. So, one comment and then one question.
Okay. I think you'll get your question answered about the special ed department this evening, because we're talking about that a little bit in our packet. And as far as the teacher contract goes, I mean, we're all aware of what happened with the teacher's contract, so we don't like to see good teachers leave either.
No.
I think I'm speaking for the board on that one. We don't like to see any of our staff leave, you know, that are doing their jobs well, so.
Is there anything like an incentive or some type of a bonus, retention bonus, or anything
When you
like
have a
that?
CBA, you can't go outside the CBA.
No.
The union would have a right to grieve if you did.
Right. You can't give the teachers anything that's not in the CBA.
That's what the union's for,
Right.
is to protect the teachers and to negotiate a contract with them.
So even if it's gonna benefit them, it has to be.
I'm not aware of anything, however, what I think we could do is maybe when we're in negotiations, ask the attorney that we're working with to see if he has any suggestions for us should the contract fail again, and get some legal advice on that.
That would be, I just think that even just as a token of saying, we appreciate you, if there is like, as an example, unanticipated fund balance or something that we can work with to show them that we're really, you know, working with them and appreciate them and trying to.
Okay. Information items, administrative reports. Superintendent report. Hasn't been too busy for you, has it, Betsy?
Never dull moment.
Does anybody have any questions for Betsy? I mean, her report was in the packet.
Right.
Yeah, most everything's
Covered
in
a lot.
the entire agenda.
Right.
I have not heard yet from Dr. Blake regarding the meeting. And I will.
So has it happened or it's going to
No.
happen? It's going to
I
happen.
left it in his hands to talk with Jen Palmicado. It was a good suggestion on his part that Jen and Melissa and he and I need to talk about special education. And I left it in his hands to contact Jen and give us a couple of dates, and I have not heard yet from him. I will contact him again tomorrow before a long weekend, and hopefully I'll hear from him.
Mhm.
That will keep reminding him.
Okay. Did anybody else have any other questions for Betsy?
Okay.
Yeah, how's your second grandchild doing?
Malcolm.
Oh, don't go there, don't start me with the pictures. He's
Okay,
so
yeah.
cute. That was a great picture of him in a milk coma.
Mhm.
On my phone. He's so cute. He looks exactly like his father. He's very, very darling little boy.
That's great. Okay, update on summer projects. Oh, is that part of the,
That's,
nope, I'm sorry, that starts into the financial administrator's report, right? Sue?
Yeah, more or less, yeah.
Mhm.
It says the nurses refit and the projects.
Right.
you know, blah, blah, blah. I just got back the signed contract today from the contractor that you all voted on for the nurses.
Oh, good.
Okay.
And in the contract, it states that he has to have the work done by August 15th.
Mhm.
So hopefully that will all happen. All the other projects we'll discuss as we go through the bid process for
Okay.
each of them, because there's
Mhm.
7 of them that we have to go through tonight.
Okay.
And then we can talk about timelines and advice that you may have regarding some of those timelines. Let's see, what else? Yeah, everything else will be discussed as we go.
Okay.
And I have a financial statement. for everybody if they'd like one.
Yeah.
You sent this out late today,
I
right?
did.
Yeah.
Oh, is it
So you
good
do
to get
have
an
an email?
Did you have an email?
Yes, you
Yeah, we're not gonna go over it tonight. I would like you to look at it though and bring your questions to the next meeting, if you have any. Write them down. and
So
send
would
them
you
in.
like, I mean,
Angela.
Angela, would you like
I'm
one?
Sue today, so
Would you like one? I'll have to make you.
No, that's fine. I just want to make sure that. And then we're trying to fill her shoes.
Yeah.
That's hard.
I try not to waste paper.
No,
So I
thank
have
you, I
to-
understand.
Yeah. So, basically though, what you'll see in there are, I did encumbrances for all the projects that you approved back in May. So that's why you see such variances. And the budget transfers that I gave to you, Ida, and I'll pass, these around for everyone else. We'll cover those.
We can do those during action items if you
Okay,
want.
I just didn't know if we
Yeah.
wanted.
We can do them after. So is this the end of the year reporting?
No,
Oh, is it?
absolutely not.
Okay, so 13, 14 is still open.
It's still
being
open.
moved around.
August should pretty much be it. I don't expect many changes after that. She's still paying a few bills. We'll probably, we talked about not this, she has an AP manifest tomorrow and then another one in 2 weeks. So probably after the one in 2 weeks, we'll actually accrue any open purchase orders.
Okay.
Yeah, so if anything, you'll see, in addition to the number there, I don't expect any more expenses than, are already encumbered.
Okay.
So your bottom line should be bigger if anything. So
Okay.
grab that off the.
Sure, go ahead.
I lost some, it's like, I think I have some in my purse. I was gonna bring floss.
What do you-
I
I know, that's what I keep
I
doing.
actually have some in my car.
Was it?
Yeah,
We
so,
can have a
because,
floss break in about 15 minutes.
yeah, because if you turn to
Right,
page
right.
21, I
Yeah.
think it is. That shows you that, you know, your fund balance after,
After all these expenditures, right?
yes.
But they could change. Because.
They may go down.
Yes, will.
They'll only go down because when you
Right.
voted to spend out of the unexpected fund balance,
Right.
we capped those. Yeah, I was
We
told, you know,
cannot spend more
yeah, we
than
can't
you're
spend
allotted.
more than that.
Okay.
So it may go up from there.
That number could go up a little.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And so the negatives that we see are in the budget transfers that you're gonna
Yes.
pass out to us later,
Mhm.
okay? All right.
and I broke those down into, you know, the ones that were really affected by those encumbrances,
Mhm.
so.
And Shannon, you sent me an email about the budget and like the process and how to read the reports and all that. And I had told you that LGC does some pretty good seminars, so I am gonna try to get you that information.
Okay.
I was doing that for my cell phone and there was just no way I could look at it, but I will send, I've been to a few and they're really good, the workshops. You probably have been to a couple of budget ones.
I'd love to go to one.
Yeah, I'll send it to everybody and let you guys know when they are, but they're very helpful.
I didn't
And
realize
then,
they get budget seminars, LGC.
I wrote one for the one
I'm
I
pretty
just
sure it was
budgeted.
LGC, I'm pretty sure that's when,
I'm sure it wasn't an HSBA?
no, it wasn't, it was actually,
I've never seen one of them, that's true.
yeah.
The LGC would make sense, I mean, they do all the municipal.
They give you the municipal budget law book and everything.
Oh, well,
And
I'm
then
thinking
the
LGC
attorneys,
self-insurance, you know.
No,
health
health
trust.
insurance.
yeah, no, so they give you a budget law book,
Yeah,
with
they
all the
would.
highlights, they
Yeah.
explain how you go about the budget process, the voting process, the warrants, all of that, like, it's fantastic.
We'll have the budget process, timeline, and dates for your approval at the next meeting.
Yes.
And that book would be really helpful for you too, and they give it to you when you go to that budget law conference. So, I would recommend that. And then, as far as reading the reports, we could, you and I could get together if you wanted for me to explain how I see them, but also Sue's available for a meeting.
She had mentioned, she had sent me an email that I was gonna forward you, that she wanted us to get together. Well, I know we had to go through you to
Yeah,
do that.
I think anything where it's like just functionally, how does the report read, what's it about, all of that, what does encumbrance mean versus,
I would give Sue a couple of weeks.
That's fine.
Before,
Yeah, just, because I have a big report to the state on September 1st.
Mhm.
yeah, so,
Yeah.
she's out straight really until then.
And I'm
Oh, that's
happy.
fine, you know, just when you have time.
So, anytime after.
Okay. See you in September.
Yeah.
And I'm
Sounds like
happy
a song.
to give you a brief, you know, what I look at when I'm looking, and I think I helped Tammy learn how to do it when she started, so.
It's good to know.
Anyway,
Yeah.
okay. Update on summer projects.
Which is what we just
did. And then lunch price requirement status.
I did the price lunch equity tool, which is a tool, Bureau of Nutrition on the New Hampshire Department of Education website, and our price is fine. It came out to $238 that we should be charging, we're charging $250.
All right.
So we are in compliance, we need to make no changes.
All right,
It's
good.
fine.
Excellent.
Yeah.
There's
So the
a,
most
just so
are-
you know, there's I think it's either a 4 or 6% 6-cent window. So if it had come up to $254, we'd still be fine.
All right.
Okay. And so that means we're still gonna be like $100, I mean.
It's
$1,100.
$1,100 projected, yeah, but I wonder about that, quite honestly. We got a statement, last week, and actually this year we have an $1,100 positive.
Yeah.
So
So
hopefully it'll,
I think they're just trying to cover themselves. I
Just in
mean,
case.
the only thing I can think of, and I spoke to it at the last meeting, is Janet's wages may go up, and
Right.
therefore our expense may go up because of that. But I still think it'll be pretty close,
Okay.
yeah. Gotta get a few more people to eat lunch.
I'm sorry, what was the amount there? That they gave you?
The price lunch equity tool,
Yeah.
$2.38.
Okay, old business, Q&A from previous meeting.
and there was one from Sue, for Sue, and I think we've taken care of that, that was inquire about the needs to raise lunch costs. So we're all set.
Good. Action items, accounts payable and payroll manifest.
Okay. Let's see. First one is, actually, the first one is it was replaced with, 14-30 was replaced with 14-32.
Oh.
It had to do with postage. Is that the way it's, because it says this is a replacement check and I only have one, so I assume that's what she did.
So 1430 was voided?
Or was it an addition?
I thought that was.
Because it says this is a replacement check right next to it on the
Then it's
manifest.
gotta be.
Be a replacement check.
Yeah, so,
I don't, what day was that? I don't remember
If
that.
it's a replacement one, do the exact same
6:30
amount?
is the replacement check date.
Okay.
6:11 is the
The original
first
date.
date.
Okay.
One was for $253.22 and the other was for $300.
Yeah, I wasn't here on June 30th.
I'm sure if it says it's a replacement
Yeah,
check,
then
it's
it's
a
a
replacement
replacement,
check.
yeah.
okay, manifest 1431 dated 6/20, for $89,675.72.
Yes, I know.
Fell asleep.
You can pull up the manifest page and show me.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't go through these extra. Pretty much the major cost was the health and dental on those ones, because they
Okay.
came out to $65,032.84. Yeah, just your typical things, nothing out of the ordinary.
Okay.
And manifest 1433,
It's gotta be Sam one.
yep, dated 6/30, for $935,246.43. It was the San Juan tuition. That was pretty much the whole amount here.
Okay.
It was 8 something though, wasn't it? Good.
Yeah, there's odds and ends for,
Yeah.
there's nothing that's, no other ones that are
Notable.
notable here, so.
So the whole thing wasn't, Sanborn's tuition wasn't 935, it was some part of that?
Right.
Okay.
Sanborn's was, I will tell you. Sorry, I usually have these all written down. I was too busy making
It's
materials.
okay, we're all digesting.
There's a lot of busing on here, just cleaning up the rest of the busing too. Gee, could be the last page.
It could be.
They're alphabetical, aren't they?
Yes.
Yeah, by vendor.
Sanborn, next page. Okay, Sanborn was 887,071.
Yep.
Okay, so.
And that was after adjustments. I made all those adjustments, so.
Okay, so do we have a motion to approve manifest 1430 to 15-1?
So move.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thanks, Tammy. Budget transfer requests. Now, we're next. How many pages for each? One, two, three? You can start that as one set.
Yeah.
That's okay. I saw you stand
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
If there was anything, I didn't realize it.
No, I mean, you could.
You could do that.
There's a set, and here's a set. I think we're short set.
Short set.
We're short one set.
Sue, for you.
I gave you the original, that's why.
Oh.
You had the original. Yeah.
Oh, you gave me the original here, sorry.
That's
You
what
need
you
this? All righty.
It's public knowledge.
Yeah.
It is, it's public. It is what it is.
Okay. So, you want to walk us through it real?
Sure.
Sue?
The first page are variances that were due to just, regular old fiscal year 14. Oh, no, I'm sorry, the first page is actually your encumbrances. The encumbrances that we voted, you voted on, I should say, from the unexpected fund balance.
Okay.
They would make all those lines obviously go over. So
Right.
I had to find a place to
Shot the money around.
yeah,
Right.
exactly. The second page is, you voted on a $4,900 kind of cap for the teacher's room, and that was supposed to include the refrigerator and the stove, microwave, not stove. But the bids we've gotten for just the cabinetry and the counters are probably coming in close to that. So when Scott discovered that, he realized he had a little bit of money in his budget, and that's what he bought. That's what we used to pay,
For the refrigerator.
Oh.
and
Was that a nice
the,
picture?
Leftover money.
it's a very
I
nice
told him to
refrigerator.
get a good refrigerator, Energy Star, and he got a very nice one.
Yes.
He
Nice.
said, as long as you tell me to spend it, I'll spend it. I said, go out and spend it and get them a good one.
It is nice, I saw it.
So you do in some ways have
Let's go
the,
take a tour now.
All right.
you need to be able to say that was okay,
Mhm.
yeah.
Gotcha.
And then the last page are the ones that were just like plain old run of the mill, those lines went over in
Mhm.
fiscal year 14.
Mm-hmm.
That we didn't take care of before, or they went over since the last statement.
So one of them was.
Just trying to get everything balanced.
Right, we approved things and they needed to be taken from somewhere
That's
else.
correct.
All right. entertain a motion to accept the transfers if you need time, that's fine.
Yeah, and if anyone has any other questions, just show them out.
Seconded.
I actually entertained a motion, so somebody's got.
Oh, I
Oh,
did.
you did, okay, sorry, Tammy
Seconded.
made a motion, you second. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. So the transfer sheet's coming around, I should keep the report?
Do you want
right?
these,
Yes,
Okay.
do you want these back?
you can, it's up to you, you can keep them if you like, souvenir,
Keep her.
because they would have been in your
You
packet.
got the emails anyway, right?
Yes,
Uh,
you have the
you do.
packets. Oh, no, yeah, they came late.
Keep her, take it home.
You have it on email. You can save it electronically.
Um, Fiscal year 15 bids is our next.
Yeah, so we can, is there an order, let's see.
Yeah, it's oil
Oil
bid came
bids?
first.
The oil bid came first.
Yeah.
Yeah, this one we should probably discuss if you want to, obviously.
Sure.
It's what?
Interesting reading.
Yeah, it really actually kind of was, yeah.
We did have, I took a poll of the board
I know.
before I realized I shouldn't, and then we've done it in the past and then ratified it in the meetings, and Betsy says we should not do that. So then I individually called each person and said, so what do you think? And so we had discussed it a little bit, there were so many questions that it was much better to have it here, so.
And we realized,
And here we
last
are.
year we voted on this in September, and so we felt it was early. Heidi was pushing it because of the situation in the Middle. She was afraid the prices were going to go up.
And the prices wouldn't hold.
Yeah,
It's-
so-
Some of them are only good for 30 days, actually.
Right.
Okay.
But she did say, she sent me an.
Well, I called Hartman with
Right.
Tammy in my office to see if,
They'd hold
for
the
any
price.
reason, no, to also see if the town chose a different vendor, they would still honor the price for us.
Uh-huh.
And they said yes.
The way the bids are written, it seems like they would.
Yeah, but you still have to.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Verify.
Yeah.
Trust would verify.
So.
Questions? Questions, anyone?
What happens when you get a bid and it doesn't have all the information you requested?
These bids were sent out by the town, first of all, by Heidi, because she does it for us, and I think the library and the town hall.
That's what.
Yeah. That's up to you. You can either accept, reject, you are in charge of those bids. When you get them, if you don't like the way they're, for instance, one of the bids, I think it's for the roof. I
Yeah.
clearly said on there that, return a, ooh, you okay?
Yep, I'm good. I got a bad chair.
Return in a sealed envelope, clearly marked, so I can open them, kind of in ceremony, if you will, at 10 o'clock on that particular day. And I got one by email, and I told him that, he was outside the box, it was up to you to.
Accept or reject his bid.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's the same
For
thing with some of the
consideration.
references. I'm used to getting them after or at your request, or, so it's your decision how you wanna handle that. If you want everybody to attach, this is going forward, obviously. If you want the packets to include references, if you want the packets to, contain the insurance information. I'm used to getting it after, or somehow, like I made a few calls on some of these when Scott and I kind of had a discussion. We were kind of closing in on a recommendation, and I got a few references, but it's however you
So,
want to
so
handle it.
we could
going
approve, we could
forward.
approve a bid as a board contingent upon workers' comp
Correct.
being, certificate being present
Yeah.
and references being checked.
And pending references.
Okay, and then as long as everything panned out okay,
Yeah.
we'd be covered.
Yes.
So I would recommend that's what we do in case, then,
If there
there
is
might be
questions.
contractors out here who just aren't used to bidding on jobs
Yeah.
like this.
Oh, we've
but
had to do
more
a
is-
few.
They're
Yeah.
probably used to giving quotes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, but I think if the board is careful to approve, contingent upon whatever those things are we want to see,
Yeah.
I think that would be helpful.
And as we get better at this,
We'll include those in
we
the
can,
packets.
we can decide if that's something, as we get a feeling for the type of vendors that are responding to our bids, we can determine if we want to do that. For some of them, I think it's a hassle, but then do you draw the line there and say if it was a hassle to give me the
Right.
references, do I really want you?
Mhm.
So those are decisions you have to make if you want your packets.
Well, they just weren't uniform.
They were
You would
not.
have to
I
make
agree
a
with you.
decision with each.
I agree with you. And
Did we see the RFP that Heidi sent out?
I do
I don't think we did.
so. But
We can actually
I
have
think
a
she's
conversation.
talking about them in
It wasn't
general.
so much the oil bill,
Yeah.
as some of the
In
other
general.
ones.
Yeah.
Well, the only one that I felt needed to be uniform, completely uniform, and I actually requested more information from each of them was the roof one. Because the carpet was very straightforward, the air duct was very straightforward. When I got the information back from the roofers, it didn't seem like apples and apples to me, so I did request information from them, and that's why you got that one late. As opposed to the carpet, you got it within this package.
As a part of this process, she sat down with Scott, went through every single bid, they talked about the materials, they talked about the vendors,
Yeah,
and they came up with a recommendation, if the board chooses to ask for the recommendation. But they have done this very carefully through every single bid for the last couple of days.
yeah, so if you, the oil one, I don't have much information on, I mean, I have an opinion and some information based on some information Tammy and I discovered
And
together.
past usage,
Right,
past
right,
contracts.
exactly, but the, the other ones as we go through them.
Okay, so what's your recommendation for the oil, Sue?
I would go with, the cheaper price, cause I don't think,
Is
it was Buxton, I believe.
No, but they actually
And the town.
guaranteed more gallons
They,
than Hartman.
But
Hartman
if
only
we
guaranteed
use that
25,000.
no, that was a
Yeah.
mistake on
That
their
was a
part.
mistake.
Do you mean the 30,000 versus the?
Yeah, 25,000.
Yeah, Heidi caught that, and, she called them, and they said, oops, no, we didn't, we'll still honor the price at the 22,000 or whatever gallons she had to put her bid in for.
Alright. This one at a price of 30,000 gallons, or?
Yes, they're gonna honor the same price, it's $3.31, I believe.
334, 54. Oh, Buxton made a mistake.
Buxton is,
Okay,
yeah.
so we can buy less and still get that price?
Yes, that's
Okay,
correct.
that was the only question.
Alright.
Yep, it was Buxton, yeah, 25,500 was what
So,
she requested, but you're right, the first, response from Buxton said 30,000.
Right. Alright, yeah, they're the lower price.
I mean, the only difference is with Hartman, if for some reason, and I don't know what reason that would be,
Right.
the, price of oil goes down, they would give it to you for the lower price.
Right.
The one thing you also have to note is that the price on both of them is less than we paid this year.
Hmm.
So, and the difference between, I think Tammy and I did the math, if we went with Buxton versus Hartman, it was like a $410 savings.
Right.
Unless the price of oil goes down.
That's correct, but
And then it might even out.
you had that same option last year, and I looked through all the invoices, all the delivery slips, and it didn't go down.
No, it went up.
I couldn't go up.
No, it went up on the general market, but not for us.
Oh, right, right,
Yeah.
okay, I was gonna
But
say.
you never paid less than the quoted price.
Okay,
Right.
So, I mean, it's $400.
Yeah.
It's, you know.
And the town went with Buxton,
The
correct?
town went with Buxton. I know SAU 16 dealt with Buxton, they were happy. Scott said he's dealt with both companies. They, he's been equally
Satisfied
happy
with
with both.
right?
It's,
And we had Hartman last year, right?
yes, we had Hartman last year.
okay, so
Your
we're taking
call.
option one with Buxton then, is that what we're doing?
Option
Because there's a
one.
locked-in rate and then there's the one that gives you the variable rate.
Rarely.
Yeah, I would
Go
do
the
a
option
locked-in,
one.
yes, absolutely with the locked-in.
Well, because the variable, you have to pay 20,
Yeah,
money up
exactly,
front,
25
25
cents,
cents
yeah.
per gallon.
Right, which makes them about equal with Hartman.
Right.
If you chose that option.
Right,
It's almost identical.
right.
Okay, so,
I motion Buxton for option one.
thank
Is that
you.
what?
Second, any further discussion? All those in favor?
Alright.
Aye.
Okay.
So Buxton.
Buxton it is for option one.
Buxton wins.
Locked in. They were the lower bid.
I will let them know tomorrow.
Thank you. Did the town go with them too?
Yes, they did.
Okay. Um,
So Alice carpeting.
This,
Yeah, that's what I was just trying to, yeah. So now we have the bids on carpeting. Did Scott have a recommendation for this?
Yeah, he and I, let me just find it here in my file. It's,
I know. That just means more work is being done to the school, which is a good thing. More improvements.
And even Scott said,
Yeah,
he's pleased. It's gonna
Good.
be, things are gonna be
So-
nicer.
I can't wait.
he and I talked, and because if you go to, does anybody need a copy, by the way? Because I have plenty.
They're in the packet, right?
I know, they
Yes.
are, but I
But
don't.
if you haven't printed it, I'll take it.
Yeah,
they're in
this,
the agenda packet?
Yes, they are.
Okay.
I don't think that top sheet
Or
is.
it's at page
Right.
27.
No,
the
they,
top sheet
Oh,
should.
it is, yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know, I read
I
it
don't need it.
somewhere.
I don't get it, I have it.
You have one, Sue, right? Do you need one?
Is it the
Oh,
carpet,
yes.
carpet department and
Carpet.
everything?
Yes.
Yeah, I have that here.
Okay,
Thank you, though.
yeah. So,
We all came in above what we budgeted.
right, and the thing is,
No, they didn't.
if you, oh, right, I was
We
referring to
budgeted
the
21,000, right?
We budgeted
21.5.
21.5.
Kadoo came in at 19.6.
Oh, that was, you're right.
If you go to the specifications page in the packet that I sent out to them, you know, it's very specific what we want. You know, we only want carpet for certain rooms, they measured the rooms, you told them the type of carpet we want. So we both believe that we're dealing with apples and apples.
Yeah.
There's no, you know, we actually quoted 2 brand names. So for that reason, we did both decide that Keju, Kajis, whatever, however you,
Yeah.
there's a couple of ways to pronounce it, would be the one that we would recommend. I also was familiar with them from when I worked in Exeter, and I did put a call in to make sure they were still,
is reputable.
yes, exactly. And they just did the whole Tuck building, which is the old high school,
Mhm.
and they were very happy with the work. So, but you're certainly welcome to make your decision.
Yeah, that was my only question, have we worked with them on the ends before?
Yeah,
Okay. Do I have a motion to accept the bid from Kadoo,
So
or
moved.
however you say it? Lauren, Kadoo.
So moved.
Second?
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Let's get her done. Okay. Next. Oh, then we have some that came after, right? Like the roofing?
Yes, the
That came in a
roofing was-
separate email?
Yeah.
yes, it
modular.
did.
Okay.
Does everyone have theirs?
I got it right here.
Printed it today.
It's here
Anybody
somewhere.
need it?
Module.
I know you do.
That I don't have. Do you have an extra?
Tammy needs one.
Do they get posted?
Take it too, 'cause I don't,
I don't
I
know,
don't know
I
what it is.
probably put it on the website, I don't know.
I didn't look today, to be honest with you.
Does anybody else need one?
I don't know, it's,
Yeah, do you have an extra one?
I just have these, yep.
Do you need that? Do you?
No, I have mine in a notebook,
Okay,
so I can
thank
pull
you.
out my notebook.
Oh, I can wait.
No, I have it right here.
So this is the roof?
This is the
Yes.
modular roofs.
Okay.
So this one was a little tougher because you're looking at different materials. I mean, we put, let me just find mine, apologize while I'm looking for it. Again, in the specifications, the standard or the minimum standard was, if you look at item number 4, under the bid specifications. The weather lock, so, you know, as Scott explained, that was his minimum standard. He felt as though, KTM, they actually, they are over budget, but he thought that their products looked better than even, what he was asking for. Well, actually, they provided what he was asking for, I'm sorry. The other two, We tried to look at the products online to see if they were comparable. They looked as though they might be, but it wasn't specifically what we asked for.
And Scott would take the extra money from his present budget.
That's correct, yep. And the difference between the two is about $1,700, I think, $1,710. And Scott did say he would take that out of,
Difference between what?
between
Oh, it was budgeted.
the, yeah.
Yeah.
what
So
was
we'd have to
budgeted.
do a, but we have to approve a budget transfer then.
No, he just take
This
it
is
out
for
of,
the
you
FY
can,
'15
Yeah.
budget.
All right.
yeah,
And they're from Fremont.
Yep. He
That's
felt
true, yeah.
strongly that the quality was worth it.
and we also, when I actually talked to Heidi, when, because we've been actually trying to work together, recommending vendors to each other and so forth, and she had used them for the town,
All right.
and they were actually her low bid, but she said they did excellent work,
Hmm.
they were very happy.
Now, my question is this the first time we've had those roofs replaced,
The
the
modulars,
modulars?
I honestly don't know the answer to
I
that.
believe the
Because
answer is yes.
usually the,
It's a 20-year roof.
yeah, usually you just put another set of shingles. Is that too heavy for those modulars?
I don't know.
Oh, you mean because of the stripping off?
Yeah.
They're not strong construction. It isn't recommended that you put a double layer on.
All right.
Yeah, Scott would have,
Yeah, they're
Certainly
not
done that,
made
I
to hold a
believe.
double. They're not supposed to last as long as they've lasted.
Right.
Yeah, they're basically, their useful
temporary.
life is supposed to be over, so.
Well, we also budgeted for the flooring, there's it's 1885 below.
But you
No,
can't switch.
Oh, you can't,
No.
well, you,
not switch,
you,
but.
I know what you're saying,
This-
savings, you could, do that, I suppose, except they were coming out of two different places.
Oh,
It's,
I
it's
believe
fine, you can take them on
the,
out of this year's budget.
this one is coming out of the maintenance trust fund, I think.
Yes, that's correct,
Right.
that's correct.
Okay.
Whereas you probably could have done that
For end of the year.
because you had, allotted $122,000 for all those projects. And we might get to that as we see the other projects, some of the savings from one to the other. But
This is
this
because
one
it's
was coming out of the trust fund.
okay.
So what you're saying is Scott can take it out of his next year's budget?
Out of the year that we just began.
Right, right. This year, I mean, this year's budget because it was being done this year.
And it was worth it to him to do it.
Yeah.
He
And
felt strongly.
not that it matters all that much, because, you have people where they are, but it's also nice to try to give back to this community,
Mhm.
because they are a Fremont company.
Okay, so. Do I have a motion to accept the bid from KTM for the roof on the modulars?
So moved.
Second?
Now, what were his issues with tar boxes? Just the materials?
Yeah,
Weren't-
and
They
he,
couldn't verify that they were
and he
quality.
hadn't really ever done business with them or heard of anybody that had.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Um,
Okay. Air duct cleaning, that was on a separate, that was under a separate.
Yeah, that I think
Came
came
late.
yesterday.
There's something.
Did you email it to us?
I did,
Yeah,
but I have a few here if you need one.
If who needs a copy?
if they're printed, I'll take it.
No, I don't.
Yeah, is it a reason?
Pass that around, Greg. Anybody else?
I didn't see it. I'll take
I have it, I'll pass it.
I did not see it.
She's wandered off with them.
I
There
have
are a few
one.
people who need them.
One, I've got one precious
This
one
this
left.
is
Here,
it?
Sue, you sure?
I'll just,
I'll take
I've
it.
got two precious ones.
I can email it to anybody who wants it.
I had it on email, I just,
Okay.
it's printed, I love to use it.
Well, I must have it, the email, just have it.
I usually
Um,
print tons of these, but I'm trying to not waste
I'm
paper.
driving that.
Well, we applaud you for trying that.
It was yesterday. Yeah, you got
And
it.
there's something.
The 15th. Okay.
We should do it on both
It
sides.
came at 4:59 PM.
Yes.
Looking for your emails.
Okay.
Sounds about right.
So what I think Scott had a feeling on, a recommendation on this, correct?
Yes,
he did.
and, well, here's the thing, again, sent out, I think I sent out 12 of these, and we got a wide variety, as you can see. But Soil Away, they actually came, they, measured what, they actually inspected what needed to be done. And the technician is certified, and he met with Scott, and he felt like he was a nice guy to work with. Again, this is kind of not a simple job, but it's, the bid, the specifications were viaducts. So, there's not a different type of material you can use or whatnot.
This is a local company. Business
They're
school.
fairly local, but the project leader does have a child in the school.
So they have a connection.
And that's
That's
soil
the
We're
Which
away.
hoping they'll clean it
Exactly,
well
which
because
was-
the kid is.
That's the
Yeah,
interest.
exactly, I agree.
Oh,
I'm just looking at-
To me, that was
That's
another,
so,
Yeah.
yeah.
that was a plus.
Armstrong must be something really special, huh? Because it's like
Yeah,
twice the
I
price.
saw that.
Armstrong, we were asking about Armstrong.
I know, Scott and I said the same thing, I don't
It's
know.
a big vacuum.
He said that he has, I think he's worked with them before, no, he said that historically they bid high,
Yeah.
that they bid high, historically
Historically,
they bid
they're
high.
expensive.
Yeah,
Okay, so Scott recommends soil away?
yes, he does.
Okay.
Thanks, Scott. Motion to approve Soil Away.
Second?
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay,
Did you want the packet? You sure? Okay.
The next one, the science lab. Is
Science
that,
lab.
that's a different email.
Hmm.
Right in there. Yep, right here. Oh, boy. Will this be done by September?
Well, that's one of the things I was gonna talk to you
Okay.
about. So, first of all,
Oh, when did this? I got an email of additional proposals. Is that the
They
one
came
you're
in
talking
a
about?
dribble.
This one came in yesterday too, the same time as the science lab. It's a second attachment to the science lab.
Oh, okay. Oh,
Okay.
science lab air duct proposals,
Yep.
yeah.
the thing
Okay.
that it doesn't include though is I did do a cover sheet. I'll just quickly go make copies of it because it's probably nice to have. Kind of some, although this seems to be
This-
some.
you mean-
Science lab right now?
Betsy,
Yeah,
you
she-
want to print out too?
Oh, there.
Everyone pass this down to Greg, please. Thank you.
It's just, yeah. If they're- they're
Can
wrong.
I ask a
But we
quick
wanted to make sure
question?
we did it right.
Sure.
And
Absolutely.
it should may require that,
I know.
What,
Can you make the last question?
is it okay with everybody if Angela asks a
Works for
question?
me.
Okay, thank you.
My question is, this says fiscal year 15, but some of the things like the carpeting and the science lab, I thought was gonna be out of last year's.
They are, but we're in fiscal year.
Okay, so that's why I wanted,
It's
that's
being
why I
done
wanted to
now.
know. Okay,
It's
so
being
it's
covered by the
executed,
It's,
executed in 15, but it
yeah,
was
I mean, the
from
money is
funding.
charged to
Okay,
14,
perfect.
but
I just wanted to understand, thank you.
okay, so here's your cover sheet, sorry. So the thing is, I'm not sure. When I talked to one of the vendors, they thought possibly September 1st it could happen. Scott and I talked about that today, and if that's the case, we're gonna gamble and go with September
and they have
1st
to move classes for a few days.
for a
Okay.
few days.
Mhm.
If it's any promise after that, we're gonna put it off until Christmas.
Wow.
So, I'm looking for,
That's kind of what John Herman wants to do as well, just so you
Okay.
know. Because we met with John Herman
when did the 781 come up? The,
yesterday. John Herman, we met with John yesterday. He had a weigh in, yeah, he had a weigh in on this process as
excited?
well. He's jumping up and down.
We didn't think it was gonna happen.
Yeah,
Really?
He
Yeah.
really did, this is just aghast.
he is.
Oh, that's great.
That's good, I like to surprise them.
Yeah.
He was shocked, I'm gonna tell you
so
the
the
truth.
only one I see in emails, it says 5th and 6th grade bid, but this is.
It's
7th
it's
grade.
included with the air duct one, I believe.
Yeah, it's,
Oh.
it's attached to the air duct one, there's two
So right
attachments.
here,
Should I give you them?
I got it.
Susu, air duct, teacher's room, 5th and 6th.
No,
No.
Different one. Came
different
last
one.
night.
Yeah, yesterday.
I can't see it somewhere. Oh, you should just go now.
I think it's right here, science lab and air duct.
Thank you.
So the recommendation from really John Herman is with lab furniture installation. And the reason he gave for that was he was very familiar with that Kiwani product.
Okay.
Again, these two, the real, we kind of, if you forgive us, threw out the third one because John Herman referred to it, and I may appreciate this, with as the Phillips Exeter model. He said because it was, it had all kinds of bells and whistles and things that would be wonderful, especially if it were a new room, a new school, but didn't really need to be implemented in his current classroom.
It is very
So, yeah, so like I said, they were, just like with the roofing materials, they were different brand names, and he was familiar with this Kiwani, and he thought because we have the whole 43,000, this would still just be a piece of it. It's not like the project is gonna stop with the 37,193, because if you look at the proposal, it excludes certain things.
Mhm.
It excludes the plumbing and whatnot.
Yeah.
So that extra money would allow him to do those things, whereas that second proposal would pretty much eat up his whole project money.
Mhm.
We would have to add to.
Right.
to that.
So-
Exactly.
So so he's happy with what he gets
He
from
liked,
last
he was
person?
very familiar with the Kiwani. It was one of the things he actually was looking for.
Okay.
Okay, sounds to me like lab furniture installation and sales is the recommended bidder, so.
We just wanna, I also wanna make sure that you say that he can spend up to the 43,000 that you already
Oh,
approved.
sure,
Yeah.
So if we could just have a motion from somebody to accept lab furniture installation and sales for up to and including the 43,000 we originally approved, so that the plumbing and extras can get done.
So moved.
Second?
All the, discussion.
Glad that's something.
Yeah, he was very thrilled.
All those in favor?
Aye.
And it's just, I just wanna add one more thing, he was really excited too, because there was one thing that we had noticed in the, proposal, that the tables are only 30 by 72. So we called, or I called right away yesterday while we were looking it over, and the company was able to give him the 36 wide that he wanted without any additional cost.
Excellent,
Oh, nice.
So he's just happy, so that's good.
great.
Mhm.
Hopefully they'll get it done in September, you know.
I'm hoping, I'm gonna call
Call
tomorrow.
tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly.
Tell them if they can get it done September 1st, they've got the bid.
Lobster, right?
Oh, there's also lobster. Just tell me how many, if it can be done by September 1st. Because you can work in the greenhouse up until like that for the first week.
That's exactly what we figured.
Yeah,
That's a good point.
Yeah.
it's a good time of year
Yeah.
to be out there.
We discussed that.
Not that I'm telling you what to do. I don't know.
I told him that, I said, we need to work it out.
Okay, the next thing is the teacher room, art room, 5, 6 science room, cabinets and counters. Wow.
Okay, so we'll
Okay.
do the teacher's room first.
Okay.
That came up today, I believe.
Not today.
Um,
You email that, you email that to us.
I did, I emailed it today at like 2 o'clock or
Oh,
something.
all right.
No, we did.
So I got additional proposals, is that what it is?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you. Tammy, you
Excuse me.
If you had it, I'll take it.
Which one we look at first?
The teacher's room, we're doing the teacher's room first. So this was one, again, it was kind of, I don't know, a little all over the place it seems. Does anyone have any questions?
This straw hat one of these vendors that he prefer.
He does. He wants to go with Lowe's.
Oh.
He's familiar with them. He thought that the quality of the cabinetry was better.
He worked with them on the windows too.
He did,
last year.
yeah.
Yeah, I've heard good things about the installed windows. And your products are good if you buy right.
And they're there where you can get to them if you need to.
Yeah.
That's true.
Okay, so he recommended Lowe's, which is almost the lowest bidder. but
Yeah.
Not quite. So,
They thought the quality was better.
Did he look at the Vance Custom Cabinets? Is he,
Did he look at them?
yeah.
Yeah, he did. He wasn't that impressed,
No.
with the quality of their cabinets.
So,
okay, so there's a recommendation from Scott for Lowe's. Do we have a motion on that, or?
I move to accept Lowe's home improvement
It's
bid.
really nice.
It really is, yeah.
I know, I saw that drawing, I'm like, whoa.
It's gonna look like a whole
Yeah.
It's
place.
gonna look like great teachers.
Mhm.
Mm.
But I do, I am gonna open it up to honesty here as well. When you see the budgeted amount of 4,900, don't forget, they did buy, that 4,900 was supposed to include
The
the
refrigerator.
refrigerator.
Right.
and
Yeah.
the-
Yeah.
Yep.
So let's do this right.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, the next one we'll do is the art room. It's on the same, yeah. So this one, is,
For some reason, my art room is coming up with teacher. My art room is happening.
Why not? Oh, yeah, it did.
there should be,
The one
But
marked,
different-
oh, no, art
No,
room,
no,
I see
different
it.
prices.
Never mind.
Different prices.
Yeah.
yeah, they're all the same vendors.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
They're all about what we,
Yeah.
what we.
They're all, that's exactly
Wow.
right.
Nice.
So, we saved money on the Dare Duct. So, quite a bit, actually. So, we were hoping, or Scott was hoping to,
Move some money around.
yeah, take a couple, take the
Yeah.
savings from that project and, I mean, it's really only.
Is it because we needed more cabinets than he thought or something? Is that?
You know, I'm gonna be perfectly honest with you about the original bids they got. I think they made them up, some of them.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, the people
okay.
he got in to get original quotes from were just, oh, it'll be X.
You know.
Not really doing out
And-
a full.
You know, and also
You learn.
there was a thought process at one point about this room going to like the Restore and getting cabinets
Oh,
and things like that.
Yeah.
When I kinda, I don't wanna say shook them down, but just said, you know, we really wanna do this, you know?
And do it right.
And we don't wanna go into Goodwill or anything,
Mhm.
and not
No
to
offense
offend
to
anybody that
Goodwill.
shops there, yeah. But, you know, I really, you know, I've talked with Mike a few times. I think he needs this. I think, you know, he just.
Oh,
he
Mr.
seemed-
Fernandez,
Yeah,
yes.
he just.
I think it'd be great.
yeah.
And to have it done right, you know, so
Yes.
things, and he didn't even complain. He just kinda
right,
said.
he's gotten moved so many times since I've been in the school district.
And he just kind of said, you know, this is the way it is. I'm like, you don't have two sinks, you don't have a double sink, you don't, you put your things over here, and it just, he really
This
needs
is our
it.
room, it should have the right.
Yeah,
the right
and
size
I guess
features.
the one thing I
And he does a good
will
job.
tell you that Scott's recommendation here, I'm gonna, sad to say, was Lowe's. But the reason why he chose Lowe's is because the countertops and the cabinet faces, he thinks are more durable than the quality of the other ones. And also, as a bonus, Lowe's threw in a roll, when you open the cabinets, there's a rollout on the bottom shelves that I guess is very handy for this particular use.
Mhm.
So, that's
So
all.
can we afford this?
That's all. You can afford it if
save
we
seven.
take the savings from,
Oh,
Great,
okay.
air
$7,000
From the
in
air duct, if
duct
you allow us to move
How
them.
much
Okay.
did you have in the air
The
duct?
bottom line
7,000.
will remain the
Yeah.
same.
Okay.
7,050.
yeah,
1,050.
Yeah, the bottom line will still be
Yeah,
intact.
it'll actually still be.
there's still a savings there.
That's
Yeah.
correct.
Look this over.
Because your carpet's coming in a little bit lower too.
Yeah.
But just in the air ducts alone.
Yeah, exactly, just in the air duct alone. And you're also gonna see a big savings in the next project, the fifth and sixth grade.
Signs from.
Yeah, look at it.
Yeah, but that's only a piece of it, just so you know. But still, that leaves all kinds of, I'll explain to you why hers is so low, when we get there. It was a kind of a Sherlock Holmes thing on Scott's part.
Yeah.
And this can be installed before the beginning of the year too?
Yes, he's talked with Lowe's, they'll be able to do,
This should take that long.
the art room, Lowe's will be able to do everything before school.
You wanted to look, you're looking at things, Andy?
There's really not that much difference between the high and low here.
And having one vendor, is actually gonna be helpful.
In the building.
Yeah.
I agree, and we also got a discount from Lowe's.
So nice too.
Yeah.
No, but I know how much my kids love art and what a great
Yeah.
job he does there, so
He
imagine
does.
with like
That room
the
is-
infrastructure.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
He's just worked with nothing.
He really
Has
has.
worked with nothing, this man, and he does such a
And
great
he
job.
does an incredible
So
job.
imagine making his life easier.
Yes.
Then how
And
much
he's
more.
just so
Yeah.
excited
It's,
about
we
it.
can't
So
get
he
a contract, we
helped
can
Is
get
that
the
the
other
other
room.
room or the?
Figure out what
the
exactly
room?
was
He
needed.
did, because I pursued him a few times, I want your voice, I wanted,
Yeah, and the roller drawers
It's
are
actually
actually
big
big because then I'm thinking like paint
Everybody
and
gave the
supplies,
same.
they'll be able to get to.
Exactly.
So that's something they're
That's the
throwing in,
same.
but that's actually worth
So-
something.
It's very yeah, it's a huge
It's
size.
the products, I
Yes.
think, that are different, like the sliding shelves and things. Yeah.
The
Exactly,
quality of the cabinets.
yeah,
And
and the
That's gonna look
durability,
awesome.
The durability of the face of the
Yeah.
cabinet.
That's
the
exactly-
That's
cleaning.
exciting.
Scott's
That's gonna be
concerned
the
about
opposite wall of the windows, right, at the front of the building?
yeah,
What is used, does he use for tables in his art room?
in his art room.
Yeah, tables, does he have?
I think he has long.
Yeah,
long,
wide
wide
ones.
Rectangular.
tables, yeah.
Kind of like,
I'm pretty sure that's what he has in there.
Yeah.
Because we had our teacher's lunch
Yeah,
in
that was
there,
just
right?
gonna say
yeah.
So, okay.
Motion to approve Lowe's home improvement.
Second? Oh, sorry, second?
Do we want to amend it to just say that we'll take the additional cost from the air duct cleaning
Yeah.
quote?
Yep.
Please, yes.
Yeah, so a motion to approve the Lowe's bid of $9,253, $35.69, and take the savings in the air ducts to help pay for the purchase.
Sounds good.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Okay, so now the next one is the
Science.
fifth and sixth grade.
Okay,
um,
science.
So if my math is right, it's still a $4,000 saving.
Yeah, exactly,
Yes,
this
we're
is
doing
still,
Fine, we're doing
Yeah.
fine.
Thank you so much.
Life is good.
so this one is, I'm happy to
Wow.
tell you that, well, it's only a piece of it, Andy, so.
It's a good piece.
But, I mean, he already,
It's the piece that really matters.
So what are they doing?
What piece are they missing?
well, just the plumbing,
Oh, the
just the
plumbing?
plumbing piece.
We were pleasantly
But
surprised.
here's what I found out.
But there's
Okay.
always a try though.
First of all, I'm gonna tell you again, of course, he wants Lowe's again. And the reason why is because, there's a coded
Lowe's on
counter.
what?
I'm sorry, Exeter cabinet, sorry.
So that's extra cabinet?
No, I'm sorry, I think he wants advanced.
Uh-oh.
You gotta make up your mind.
I know, I'm sorry.
Can we give him a call?
It's a $7
Do you
difference.
have it? So this basically,
Yeah, it's advanced.
the $8,500 that we set aside included plumbing, and none of these bids include plumbing, is that what we're talking about?
That's correct. But what
There's a good
happened
reason
was,
for it.
and there's a, yeah,
Okay,
because,
that's the reason.
because he thought he was gonna have to, practically dig to China. Do you know what I
Go
mean?
through
He
the
was gonna
floor.
have to go under a wall and into
Yeah.
the hallway.
To find
But
the
that's,
pipes.
but it's not necessary because Scott, found the drain pipe. He got a blueprint and he found a metal detector and he went around and he found it.
It's in the
Yeah.
wall already.
All
All
right.
they have to do is
super.
go into the wall.
That's our-
Rather than having to go down into the cement
Oh.
floor, underneath the wall, into the hallway. It's
So,
already there.
How, has he actually looked at it and
Now,
seen
see,
it? or
that
just-
could have
It's in-
been,
it's in the
that
blueprint.
could have been
And
a
you
really
did.
fun project for the kids to do, like,
That's
a
what it does.
pirate treasure hunt for the
But
treasure
So-
hunt.
but he didn't
The pipe.
expect to find it. He didn't expect
Yeah.
to find
I'm
it.
gonna step, nice step
So-
little,
It's in the blueprint, so he's the detective to find, but he actually.
And you went with a metal detector.
But he has to see it to make sure it's really the pipe?
It's what it, yes.
Yeah,
It's-
he
he's
had,
checking.
Clem's Plumbing or
Plumbing, come and
something
check it out.
from Exeter, find it. So it's still gonna come in.
It was meant to
The-
be.
The plumbing and all that is still gonna be way under the 8,500, but those are the pieces that are.
how much
enough
is the
to-
extra for the plumbing?
How much is what?
Extra for the plumbing?
I'm not sure, but it
We're
was
doing all the
definitely.
plumbing together and all of
Yeah,
this in
exactly,
one lump.
yeah.
Oh, so is the plumbing included in this, isn't the plumbing's not included in these bids though?
No,
No, it
because
says
it's,
that they're not.
yeah.
Right,
We just approved all of those
Right.
without the plumbing.
right,
Right.
right.
The money
Yes,
there.
understand.
I will tell you one other thing though, he did buy all the sinks for the art room, this sink, and I believe
Teacher's
the
room.
teacher's room, in that same $2,500 that he bought the refrigerator and the microwave. So
Wow.
those pieces, yeah.
He's done a great job.
I can't wait to see it all done.
Did he get the dishwasher too with that?
I'm sure they can't wait.
Yes, yeah, maybe that was, maybe it wasn't a microwave, I'm sorry, I think it was a
dishwasher?
dishwasher and a refrigerator, I'm sorry.
No,
Yeah,
no, I
yeah,
just
yeah,
wanted to
yeah,
see
yeah.
if he got
Yeah,
the other two, because I saw it sitting out there.
That's
It
what
looked
he did.
pretty.
Yeah, they were beautiful.
Mm.
Yeah, John Supina was also pleased, he said.
Yeah.
He actually bought some good stuff.
I know.
So for the 5th and 6th grade room, what, is it cabinets and sinks? or-
Counters, cabinets, sink. She has nothing now, really.
And this, the price that you're looking at, you mean it's for cabinets and a sink. See, if you look at advanced advanced custom cabinets, the first page is just for the cabinets. And then the second page is the countertop.
Walk out basically through
So they
here.
should be able to do science with water, which she has not. been
Yeah,
able to do.
exactly.
She has not had any access to water, no counters on which to work, no sinks, nothing.
Is she excited about it?
Like I said, it's a coated counter
Yeah.
that's durable for
This practice
spills and et cetera.
So which one is this, advanced?
Advanced, the first one.
Stainless laminate column, double edge, black oak protection.
They'll be able to do a lot more with their curriculum.
Okay,
So motion to approve advanced custom cabinet group
is that the one that he recommends?
Yes.
Okay.
for $1,470.
Second?
Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And just, all the teachers that come up are very happy with everything you guys have approved, so
Yeah.
thank you.
Wonderful.
Good.
We'll have our September 9th meeting at the Ellis School, and we'll do a tour before the meeting.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah.
So you can see everything.
Excited.
And then at the
Love
same
it.
time, you will also be looking at the asbestos situation, the bathrooms that we're gonna be
Mhm.
talking about for the
Mhm.
budget for the coming year, so you'll get to see both ends,
Good,
Good.
yeah,
bathroom's good.
so.
Yep. Lord knows that wants to be done.
Yes,
Yes.
it
I
does.
certainly do.
Okay, so we're done with all the bids, correct?
Wow.
Okay.
Hey.
Policy JFABB, foreign exchange student for second reading approval.
And again, as a reminder, the only thing we did here was take out the other visa, which would be a student coming in on their own, not coming in with a program.
So what about the truckloads of people that are coming right now? Do we have to approve any of them into our school system?
Fortunately, they're out of state.
Okay,
So far.
but if they happen to show up in Concord and get bussed around,
Well, they have to be in a program. So if
Okay,
they pass
so-
this, they'll have to be in a program.
okay.
Right.
Okay, that's what I wanted to know, because I read this carefully after the news was out there.
Yeah.
So,
Well, they don't have visas anyway.
That's true.
Mhm.
but that doesn't stop Lynn, for a Lynn school system.
Oh,
You
Lynn
heard about
Mass.
that? They got 40-year-old illegal immigrants applying for high school.
Really?
In class.
Oh,
Oh my
interesting.
God.
Well, you know,
Yeah.
you gotta applaud people who wanna get an education.
Yes, you do.
You do. Any way that they can do it, they're trying.
Okay, so, did everybody get a chance to read over the foreign
Yes.
exchange student policy? So,
Yeah.
Yeah, I did.
You can do second and final if you choose. It's up
Okay.
to you.
That's up to, somebody want to make a motion here?
What was this, this is first reading?
You
right?
did the first reading last
This
meeting on
second.
the 25th.
So a motion to do a final reading,
Second and final.
second final reading of policy number.
JFA.
B.
Yeah, that
Ida, could you pass the?
JFAB.
B.
I'll second it.
Second. Okay, so we had a second from Shannon. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Fiscal year 15 school bus route approval.
Does this have to be done tonight or 2 weeks time?
We really need to do it
I
tonight.
need to. Have it changed much from that should be?
I sent out later this afternoon actually I sent it to you.
I forwarded it to the
Okay.
board.
Thank you. I sent out a marked up series of routes
In between.
with the change, showing the changes from this year to next year's routes. I started to go through them, I do have to say, I didn't get through every one, I sat with a Google map going through them. But she generally does a very good job, and if there are concerns, we'll take care of them. But basically, they're the same routes with different stops, based upon the age of the kids and the kids who are left. She moved the stops around, but they're pretty much the same, same routes as before.
I'm pulling it up.
Yeah, there's no road changes.
It's up here too.
It's just,
Alright.
it's just stop changes. Yeah, if you want to,
I'm on whichever page, I don't know which page you want me to be on.
I think if you click out of that and go to another file, close that page, completely, or no, lower it, just lower it, whatever. Just lower the page, up in the upper right-hand corner, first, the flat one. There you go, okay. Let's see, bus route, bus transfers, I guess I didn't put it in there.
That's fine.
Oh, well, you can reopen the agenda packet then. But you do have it.
Yeah, I see it in email, I'm just pulling it up.
Are you reviewing that for a second? Because I'm gonna peer reviewing that.
Did she anticipate any issue with,
She did not,
No prices
and
on
I
it.
will say that I usually have Yvonne go through these because she knows the roads, and she has not had a moment to do it.
I
Um,
looked through them.
Yeah, I took a cursory look, and then I started to do the map, and I did the first two, and everything looked, I mean, they're the same routes, they're just different stops,
Right.
so.
Right.
And something, and I know, and I remember my kids looking, that didn't really change.
Yeah, so it's not like she wrote new routes.
Yeah.
People, it'll be the bus going by the same places, they're just gonna be stopping at the age-appropriate places. The hardest thing for people in this is when their kids are getting older and they have to walk further. And the kids come home and complain. And then the parents don't wanna hear about it, which I can't blame them. And so they call up and they wanna make a change, and we have to go out and scout it out and say, I'm sorry, but we have a first grader or a kindergartner, and we can't stop at every stop. The kid's getting older.
This one doesn't look right.
Which one?
Which page?
Fremont 3 High School, morning. It's on page, I don't know what page it is.
It's page 53 in the packet.
No, this is the one where
Oh,
she
the new
shows
one?
the changes.
Okay.
They're wanting the people to come, they stopped at Better and Levitt before, and now they're gonna stop on North Road.
Stop Better and Levitt, it says, yeah, so.
So are they changing stop at Better Levitt to stop at North Road? And I don't know why she would do that, because then they have to walk down that side street with no sidewalks.
Page 53 is up there.
To go onto a very busy
Yeah.
road in the winter is stupid. She should not do that. That's a very bad road. To
Well,
be
you know-
having kids stand on the corner in the winter. Better and Levitt are side streets.
Okay.
They're not the main road of North Road.
Okay, so we're talking Fremont 3 High School.
North Road's that
You
busy?
spell, I can
Yeah,
spell
yeah,
that.
it's
How do you-
Wine is
Stop
bumpy.
at North, yeah,
People
she
just
has,
have it.
stop at Veteran
Even though they
11,
shouldn't.
stop at North, okay.
Unless she's saying she's gonna add stuff at North, but I
Well,
don't
if you're
think
looking
that's.
back at the other one, the new one,
Yeah,
here's the new one,
okay.
so take a look at that. What does she have?
Oh, so she is stop, she's adding a stop.
She's adding a stop.
Okay, that's good. I thought she was changing that road, those kids that wait at the end of that road to go to.
She added a stop.
North, and that's good.
Yeah, she stops at Veteran 11 and then stops at North.
There must be somebody on the.
Crossover North to Tavern. and then-
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay, good, so she's adding that.
We're using
That's
the
good.
same number of buses, right?
nothing's changed with
Nothing's changed, okay, even though we have.
that. And we still have a contract, we have 2 more years, this year and next
We
year.
got 20,
Yeah.
20 fewer students.
20 fewer.
Yeah, somewhere around there, because we
Yeah.
had 39.
Looks like she added some stops
Yeah,
actually.
we got
which
20
is-
fewer
Yeah,
students.
A lot of them are.
Oh, good, that she had it.
I mean, I just thinking, you know, the budget, you know, we're down.
20 students doesn't make that big a
No.
difference, you know. there's-
Amongst these
Yeah.
buses, it's like
Yeah.
two
Depends where the
two
kids
people
are.
bus.
Yeah, if we're all on one bus, that'd be one thing, but that'd be one empty neighborhood, so.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, they're spread out over 8
Exactly.
buses, 20 kids, it's 2 kids per bus, it's not gonna change anything.
Okay, so she definitely added some stops in.
Yeah.
That's good.
Mm.
She probably had to,
Yeah,
from people asking. And we approved a couple of adjustments last year.
we did, and I think she knows the patterns that I work with now and what I look at.
Mhm.
As we had the exchanges last year, when I talked about sidewalks, main roads, even for the high school kids, I don't like them walking on 107 if they can't get off the road. So,
I know, that's,
So-
that's horrible.
and on North, I know if there's if a kid, I don't want a kid coming out, walking down to the end of a road if they live right on the street.
Mhm.
So we made a number of those changes.
Mhm.
And then there were a few that I didn't change, where people were asking really for custom service.
Mhm.
And we just couldn't offer custom service, so, for older kids.
All right. Well,
I'm sure the parents will let us know if they have any concerns.
right, we will definitely hear from them if there's any issues, but.
Yeah.
So these will be posted on the school and then on the website?
On the website.
Okay.
Yeah, they'll
The
go
new
to
website.
The new
Let's do
website.
it,
should
and get
be
it up
up
there,
there,
I guess,
yeah.
this will be nice to have it early for a change, you know, in case there's any issues.
And, exactly, we can take care of things earlier than we did last year.
Okay, so do I have a motion to approve the bus routes as presented?
Motion to approve the bus route as presented.
Second. Any further discussion? No? All those in favor? Aye.
Hey Betsy,
Ooh,
it's up right now.
yes it is. It was not up earlier today.
She said it could take, what, 24?
Yeah, it's
There
24
may be, there
up
may
to
be pieces
24
missing,
hours.
but the
Yeah.
main page is
She's
there.
gonna, tomorrow she's gonna spend the day checking the links and making sure that everything meets as
Iris?
it's supposed to. Yeah, Iris will do that.
Okay, so now we're on to personnel nominations. Special Services Director Melissa McKeon.
Okay, and you all know Melissa, and she has proven herself to be a noteworthy employee, and the woman is fastidious with details.
She has, and she
Which is
is.
wonderful. And I've had very positive feedback from everybody regarding this decision, and let me see, I wanted to let you know the contract situation, we reduced the number of days based upon what we feel works for the position a little bit, from 220 to 210. We lowered we made it at 70, instead of 72, 573 that it was. But we added 5 days, should she need them during the summer, since we had reduced the days, at a per diem. So that if she uses all 5 days, we will still save $907.35.
She's definitely gonna use them, I know.
Yeah, this year,
Yeah,
definitely.
because-
I expect next year probably not, she'll have the time,
Exactly.
the planning and time to be able to do it, but I expect she'll use those this year. She's been doing a wonderful job
Mhm.
already, so.
Well,
I'm asking that you approve her nomination as of July 1, as she has already begun working in that position with that authority, so.
So would we give her a retro check? Is
Yeah.
that what
Yeah,
happens?
yeah.
Because she's not been paid at
No.
that amount right now.
No, we will have to make sure that she
I
gets,
don't think she has.
you know, yes.
It's kind of funny, actually.
What's funny?
Isn't this position that when we went to reorganize the school that they wanted to cut to half-time? Wasn't Melissa?
The out-of-district
Out of
coordinator.
district
No,
coordinator.
remember-
Not
Out of
the,
district,
not the, not the
No,
director
no,
of
the out of
special-
district coordinator position,
Right.
the one that got the halftime.
Let me, and as Angela had asked earlier, let me explain a little bit. We did talk about the job descriptions. They have been changed. They are not the same as they were. The two positions that we have had are different from the way they were this last year. Melissa will be a pre-K to 12 person. She will follow a child all the way from when they enter the system until they age out at 21 or they graduate from high school, whichever happens earlier. She will still coordinate the out-of-district, but she will also oversee what happens in the building. She will be over a building coordinator who is specifically a building coordinator only and has no other duties. This person will be housed in the same office space with the case manager, so communication will be close. She will know what's going
Where do
on.
they sit in the school? I don't think I've ever
They
seen
have
one.
a room where he's got
Where
case
is who?
managers.
So the case manager, is it near the nurse's office?
Yes, it
Yes,
is.
yeah, and she'll be in there, or he'll be in there. That person will be on I don't have my job descriptions with me, I think it's a 210-day contract, or 200-day? I think it's 200, 200-day
The building.
contract.
JR.
The building, yeah, same as JR. And their duties will be much less, and Melissa's position will be much more. She will be in with Nan.
Will they both be qualified for LEA? Like,
Yes,
can they inter,
yes.
okay.
Yeah,
So
and
they
so
both
can,
can
so
do
can John.
LEA work.
John can do LEA.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
any administrator can do LEA.
LEA is.
Yeah, local educational agent. If we have an IEP meeting, you have to have
Okay.
someone in
So-
LEA there.
Okay.
And she is not yet certified as a special education administrator. She is in process. Her contract is contingent upon her reaching that by September 30th. She had already, prior to this, spoken with the DOE about it. She does not anticipate any trouble in that regard. I think she's highly qualified. I think her skills are excellent. She's very knowledgeable, and Sue, after she met with Sue about budgeting for next year, Sue was in ecstasy. She knows every kid, she knows, every service, she's got it all in her head. And you'll see a very specific special education budget next year, very specific.
Yeah, she and I spent about 4 hours yesterday going over.
Yeah, everything.
She's been involved with the budget in the past,
Yeah.
like carefully sitting with us during budget season. and
Oh,
things
really?
Over, yeah, she kind of sits in the background, not since the change in structuring of the school, but in the past. Prior to that, she was in every meeting.
Very,
that we
very,
had a budget
very
meeting,
detail oriented.
and really listened and paid attention.
Yeah, she asked great
She
questions.
absorbs very well, she's very patient,
Mhm.
and extremely detail oriented, very thoughtful. So we're very pleased to nominate her, and I hope that you will elect
Who's
her.
gonna be supervising the case manager?
The building coordinator will supervise the case managers, and Melissa's position, which is Director of Special Services, will supervise the building coordinator and all, no, I take that back. She will supervise case managers, the building coordinator will supervise paraprofessionals.
All right, that makes sense.
Yeah,
I was just wondering, because you're putting the building
That's
coordinator with the case
Yes.
manager.
Whatever you do.
It'd
I'm
be
sorry.
kind of odd if she was
I
supervising.
spoke incorrectly. Yeah, she will be over this, the building coordinator and the case manager, the building coordinator will be over the paraprofessionals.
Hmm.
So it would be Paris to the building coordinator to Melissa, and Melissa to you.
Yeah, yeah.
For the
I
chain of
have a new
command.
org chart getting ready to be presented next meeting to the board, so that will cover all of the supervisory.
There was some question about that in the last job description we talked about,
Right.
so
Yeah,
that is
that's
clear, and
That's
okay.
clear. Yeah, and this was all done in concert with Dr. Tina McCoy,
Right.
who did the audit of the department and determined what the needs were and what the
Right.
job descriptions, along with Melissa, should be.
Mhm.
Very cool.
So that's the reason for the change then, was because of the audit? from-
Yes, yeah,
Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, and if you're not familiar with Dr. McCoy, she was the special education director in Wyndham for 10 years. She worked with me prior to that. I'd hired her when she came back east. Excellent. She's now a consultant, and she will continue to work with the district as needed.
Okay, so I would entertain a motion to accept Betsy's recommendation for the Special Services Director of Melissa McKeon.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion, further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Ah, that feels good.
And here's your contract. when
Okay.
you're
Oh,
ready.
I have it in here too, so I have two of them. For her.
Oh, I think the one.
There's two in there. Take this, do this one. This one was
Okay.
corrected, so there's something, no problem with that one.
Okay, so this, the one in the red.
The red is the
Gotcha.
one you want to sign.
Okay. And then summer, oh,
Oh, I'm sorry, can I ask one more question? And I don't mean to interrupt.
No.
Don't we usually, look at any kind of what we would offer this person for, her salary per year, or?
Come from the board?
No, it's, well, yeah.
I went over that.
Yeah.
I offered her 70.
Right.
Oh, I didn't hear you.
And her days were, the position was reduced from 220 to 210.
Oh,
with the
when you
five-
were saying that, I didn't realize you were saying, I apologize.
Okay.
Okay.
There's a savings of $907
There's
and
a
53
sheet we
cents.
get sometimes that hasn't.
Right, it's writing down the days
Right.
and stuff here,
Yeah.
so I must have lost it. Okay.
Yeah, I didn't do that because this is an administrator, it's not a teacher.
Mhm.
So I thought I would just
Yeah, that's
describe
fine.
it.
I think that's what.
That's
we do.
fine.
Yeah.
Thank you, I'm sorry.
No problem, no problem. We're all digesting.
I know.
I was thinking about eating more, but.
Come on, dessert.
I know, we might want to break before the goals to get a little more.
definitely we will.
Yes.
We will. Okay, so summer extended school year. Jackie Driscoll.
This was an
nomination.
oversight.
Exactly.
Yeah, she was supposed to have been hired, it didn't get into the packet last time during the mix-up in June, and so we're just adding her in, and
Has she been helping out?
she's been,
Okay.
we had to have
We
somebody.
had-
for
yeah,
the-
we
Again, the saying, we weren't sure.
We'd like to pay her now, so,
Oh, all right.
now the board can decide not to, I suppose, so.
Okay,
So,
so,
motion to make right whatever they have to adjust.
second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay,
And the last is the housekeeping,
All right.
which is the nomination of Jessica South for the recall. She has signed a contract, the board has signed a contract, but we never had the official nomination, which always happens in March. So she's being nominated tonight.
Or the judiciary signed that.
Yes, everything's done. It's a housekeeping vote.
Motion to approve,
To accept her
to
nomination.
accept the nomination of Jessica Self.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Right.
Nay? No. Should I be dating the contract 7/1 because we made it effective
Yes.
7/1?
That would be good, just to cover ourselves.
Okay. And personnel resignations.
Yes, you're aware that Michaela Eichen has resigned, and I do have to say, this poor woman feels so guilty about this.
She really does.
She does, she feels so guilty, she sent out another letter explaining her, trying to explain her, because she would like to be able to come back, I think, eventually. She wants to keep the door open. But she was chosen out of a pool of 200 teachers,
260, I think, wasn't it?
something, yeah. I'm
That
not
sounds
exact-
like what happens with us when we get applicants. We get a lot of applicants when we get applicants.
So she was thrilled to have this opportunity, and we wish her well.
Definitely. Although we're sad to see her go.
Yes, we are definitely sad to see her go.
So,
Motion to accept with regret.
Very much.
Please come back.
Second?
all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, and then we're on to school board goals.
Wouldn't
So,
wouldn't the posting that be posted for?
It's already posted.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Did
we're already-
anyone apply it?
We're already accepting applications.
all the 259 that didn't get.
Well, I will tell you, the assistant superintendent over in Timberlane is a friend of mine from way back, Roxanne Wilson, and she called me. You know, she did the appropriate professional thing. She called me and said, will you release her from the contract? And it was, I always released up to June 30th, and it was just like 2 days after.
Yeah,
that.
it was July
The 3rd, yeah, so I said, I'll let it go. And she said, I have a long list of people, I've got a whole pile of applicants, if you have any need, let me know, and I'm happy to supply them to you. So,
Nice.
yeah, she's a great lady.
I think it
Lots of
closes
class.
on the 18th. doesn't
Yes, it does, it
Yeah.
closes on the 18th.
Okay.
How about the
So-
building coordinator? Do we have any applicants? Is that?
I have not asked Melissa, I know that there's some coming in, they're going to Melissa.
Good.
And they'll start there.
Okay, we're gonna recess for about 10 minutes and then we'll be back. We're back from recess. Oh, should I wait for Angela?
That's up to you.
We won't be doing anything that important, she can catch up. All right, so we're on to the annual goal setting process, school board goals, review of the fiscal year 14 school board goals and the results. And then our setting of the fiscal year 15 school board goals. So the first page of the, I think it's page 63 of our packet, showed what we had put for our goals, just to keep our
63 and
meetings in
64.
order. And what do you guys want to do? Do you want to just talk about things you think that we might have done better in some of these and the rest of them that we met, or how do you want to?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
I figured you'd go through them, take a look and say, yes, we did that, yes, we did that, no, we could improve here.
Right.
Change it, whatever.
So we're on page 63 of the packet, and the 12 board operations relationships, board meetings, start on time. I think we did that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All members are encouraged to speak freely, both civilly.
I think we did that.
You did good, huh?
Discussion stays on topic.
Fairly.
80% of the time?
Hmm?
Maybe 80% of the time?
Not bad.
70?
Probably
We're
better
better
around
than
that.
we used to be.
Probably better
There you
around
go.
here.
No. You're easily controllable.
Yeah.
No meeting should last more than 4 hours, and if more time is required, we should adjourn to the next available time slot. I think we tried to do that as much as we could. I don't think we like to try to work beyond our capability. There's been a couple of late meetings, but not many.
Yeah.
Agenda packets are available 4 days prior to the meeting. I'd say yes to that.
Yeah.
Minutes are posted promptly per regulations. Policy on board meetings is followed, I think so. And keep student learning at the forefront of actions and decisions. I think we've been pretty good at that. So policy development, establish a board policy committee that meets monthly to review and bring forward policies as recommended by the superintendent at the second meeting of the month or as necessary.
We've done
I
that.
think we're doing a great job with that, and we're gonna get those done if we keep it up. Fiscal management, all aspects are understood and can be explained by all members. We might need some work on that, I think,
Yes.
because of the new members.
That's
Yep.
orientation.
Yep, so just to maybe improve, go over things a little more carefully as far as that goes. Maybe the beginning of budget season, we can do that even with an overview. Budget reflects the priorities of the town.
I think this past year, I think because of the curriculum survey we did, some of the other stuff, I think we have actually done some of that. Now, as far as curriculum, as far as the priorities of the town, that sounds more like from just education. Should that be just change the education priorities, or do we want to just keep it? Because priorities of the town also include budget, taxes.
I think we're trying to keep in mind what our limitations are as the taxpayers in town's tax rate goes up. So I think that's what that was originally meant for. And I don't know about that because I think our budget went up quite a bit this year. And so I think we just need to always keep that in mind when we present a budget as to what we're gonna increase it by and what we've returned.
Right.
Just to make sure, because it does affect our CBAs and everything else too, if we come in too high with an operating
Well, we
budget.
don't have control of so much of it without this.
Yeah.
We are actually,
You're working on it.
we are working on it.
You are working.
I think with this team here, we have a really good handle on where we need to go next year to keep everything in line to get maybe a CBA passed. But I do think we have to consider the town. That's what I thought that was. Budget process is transparent. I think so. I mean, our
I think
meetings
so.
are all public and we talk about everything.
I think that seems to you guys an excellent job.
I agree.
Budget is thoroughly vetted. Can guarantee that.
Every time.
To support student learning while being fiscally responsible.
I think we're doing that because we're offering new programs.
Put back in a teacher when you needed to put back in a teacher.
We're offering
Yep.
the
Science lab,
science
art room.
lab,
Yeah.
art room, after-school music, after-school
Yeah.
foreign
Foreign
language.
language.
Yep.
And we're certainly moving in that direction.
Board review of financials is based on data, reports, and auditor feedback. I can't think of any other way to look at it. Board questions related to fiscal management are to verify the reports offered and gain a better understanding of such reports. reports. I don't think anybody feels there's any other reason behind any of those questions. The board will review monthly financial reports at the first meeting of each month, including balance sheet, expenditure report, revenue report, and grant report and applications. We probably just need to make sure we try to get that done
Yes.
once we get our feet
I
under us
didn't
now
realize
this
you-
year. This is what the auditor, these reports that you see there are what the auditor recommended
That
we
you
have
see
every month.
Okay.
So
It's
we'll-
not a problem. The only one that I haven't been, I mean, I didn't know you needed a balance sheet, but now that I do, you can certainly, that's easy.
Yeah,
The revenue report has been lagging,
Yeah.
because there's one revenue that I still have to post, it's gonna take about 5 hours to do, because
Wow.
it's a refund from LGC.
oh, okay.
It has to be,
Yeah.
yeah,
And that can just,
Yeah.
you can have a star next to that that
right,
says,
but
you know,
but it
working on it.
affects them all, do you know what I mean, because it's in
Yeah.
August.
Oh, okay.
All right.
So,
Mhm.
anyway, I'm hoping to get that done this Friday. On Friday, I think I'm gonna be here by myself, so
She gets
that's
a
like,
lot
that's
done
like
when
having
she
10
does.
hours of,
Mhm.
or 12 hours of a
What does
regular day.
that say about you?
They
Stop
just leave me
So Ronnie was
astray.
bad.
No, it's just that there's no, I mean, there's nobody in the other
She doesn't
building.
answer the phone, it's, you
Yeah.
know, you don't have.
And these can be just electronically, they do not need to be printed. It
Okay.
just, it can be electronically and put into either, I mean, I would go so far as to say either the first or second meeting of the month. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think it matters to us, maybe
So just say
that
once
would
a
lighten
month,
your load a
sometime
little
a
if you
month.
had a flexibility
Oh,
of either
yeah,
the first
it
or
would
second.
actually, yeah.
Because it's just that we want to see them.
You
It's
need to.
almost like the
You
second
should.
one works better, quite honestly, because because they have to be done so many days in advance,
Mhm.
I don't have enough time
Yeah,
to.
and it, with the meeting in the summertime meeting in the middle of the month, with
Yeah.
one meeting, it's been
It's been
Mhm.
better,
better,
yeah,
yeah.
except obviously.
So maybe we should change that to the second meeting, if we're gonna redo these goals.
Yeah.
If you even wanna keep them, I'm just assuming that they might be a nice list to continue to follow. So we'll make a note to maybe do that as a second.
Or you could say just one meeting of each month.
Right,
Yeah, they,
Have
Right.
that one meeting of each
at
month.
least once a month, yeah.
Yeah, it should be monthly.
And then manifest review and payroll review will occur in a timely manner. The board will oversee the policy regarding transfer of funds is being followed.
Yeah.
Educational program development. Where appropriate, the school board ensures curriculum supports community values and meets the school motto and goals. I think we do that.
And you'll see more from curriculum next month, next year, because when we have Lynn Healy working, we'll get regular reports from her as to how things are going, so you'll have more of a handle on what's, where things are.
Yeah, when is has she already started?
She's already come in and talked with John and JR today, she was in there, and as I told the strategic planning committee last night, she, although I didn't put this in her job description, she's working already with Sanborn. She's trying to bring them into the picture as well, so there could be more coordination.
Excellent,
Mm.
that's great.
Yeah.
The board receives regularly scheduled presentations of the programs as they are being developed and implemented into the district through the superintendent in order to review and revise as necessary to support student learning. Yes, I think that's happening when we have something new. Board member orientation, a complete orientation packet given to new members.
Did you get one?
I did.
All right.
Training opportunities are offered. Yes, they are.
Yes, I
We
know.
actually went to a few altogether.
You're welcome.
Pretty much.
The lobster doesn't do it, nothing will share
They're wounded.
New Hampshire School Board Association, new school board member orientation workshop attendance.
That was great.
And Reed becoming a better school board member. Robert's
Memorize.
Yeah, memorize.
That's
It's
the
kind of
other
handy
one.
when you need it, because there's a lot of good information
Yeah,
there.
there
And
is.
the budgeting information in there is very good too. Like how to read the
Yeah.
financials and stuff.
It's at my desk the other day at work, I'm like, oh, yeah.
Board member development, attend locally offered training as time allows. Board members are made aware of training opportunities and a multitude are offered. Speak as one voice, and board will mentor new members. How's that going for everybody?
Great. And
Okay.
do you feel mentored?
Blinding the blind.
Oh, she's too happy right now.
Lobster.
That deserves something else.
Okay, we'll remember that soon. Board officer performance. I think that this is talking about Andy and I. I think.
Yeah.
Come to each meeting ready to discuss all agenda items.
Good job.
Come to each meeting ready to listen and allow expression of all points of view.
Then you get to good job.
Officers treat all members fairly,
Mhm.
except each other.
It doesn't say that.
Right.
State laws and regulations are scrupulously observed both during and outside of meetings. Yeah, except when we don't know that we're not.
Once we
doing
know
it,
them,
and which
yeah.
we know, when we do know, we fix that. But we actually do pretty good at that, because
You
when I
do
was
well.
sitting in that meeting, the chair training meeting that we all went to, boy, we do a lot better than most.
You do very well.
I
You
think so.
do exceedingly well compared to many boards.
Board superintendent relationship. Here we go.
Oh.
To have an open, honest, two-way communication between the board and the superintendent. I can't think of a time this board has done better than it is right now with
That's
that.
good.
I really can't. The relationship is respectful and forthright.
Look into this.
Expectations are clear. Strengths are recognized and built on. Collaborative, professional, and focused on the successful implementation of the missions and goals of the district, definitely. And we follow the chain of command, which I think we're all doing a great job with. We all need to be reminded sometimes, but even all of us do. We just
The
have to kind of
intention is
remember the
there.
focus, yeah. Board and staff relationship, keep staff informed of the board's decisions on a regular basis. Parentheses, notes to staff. Remember I was doing notes to
Right.
staff?
Yeah.
I stopped doing them when the PTA started writing their
Yeah.
recap, because to me, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
I just can't see
Yeah.
redoing the work.
And they get them out so fast.
Yeah, I know.
They do.
Like,
I have no
at
pressure
2
tonight,
in the morning.
right?
Yeah.
At
I'm
2
gonna
in
be
the
home
morning,
by
they're like
10.
on my computer, I'm like, still having my last
I've been to the meeting already.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The board recognizes that it does, so in that case, keep staff informed of board's decisions on a regular basis. I mean, I can do the notes to staff, continue to do them, or we could just rely on what comes off the PTA, I don't know.
The only thing that I would say is that if you choose to accept the PTA's output, which is great, I would let the staff know that you're choosing to do that,
Okay.
so that you're not ignoring them and they're thinking they're not giving us information, but saying, you might send out an
Does every
all-out
staff
stuff
member
saying,
get it though?
you know.
Yeah, that's, I don't think every staff member
Is
is
it
a
just the
member
members of the PTA?
I know that was
Really?
Jen's, that was Jen's goal.
It was
to have
a goal,
every
I
staff
don't
member-
believe it was.
Oh, okay, it didn't
Okay.
happen?
No, I
All
don't
right,
believe so.
then that's something to think about.
Well, I
And
can
maybe it's
ask,
a
at the PTA, right, at the PTA meeting, the next time I'm there with the
Okay.
PTA, and I don't know when the next one is, I'll have to look it up. I'll look it up on their website.
You could choose to forward it to them.
I could ask
because you
them
have
if it would be
access.
okay with them if I just forward it to the staff,
And
and then I
that
could
way
have
it's-
Yvonne do it for me.
Yeah.
She has, I don't have the all-staff
Yeah.
email, but,
Okay,
yeah, because
Certainly do
there's no
that.
sense in
Yeah, as long as the
redoing.
PTA's okay with it, that's.
yeah.
Right,
I can even take that as a follow-up if you'd like me to.
sure, that'd be great. And I still have to look and see when the next meeting is, so I can get back here for that. The board recognizes that it does not have a direct relationship with staff except through the superintendent. I think we're careful
We've done
about
that.
that. Board intentions are explained clearly.
Are they?
I don't know, I think we still have a little bit of work to do there, but I'm not
Yes.
sure how you fix it.
And I'm thinking that perhaps, you know, when the teachers come back in the fall, if someone from the board could just say a few words at the beginning meeting. And I'm accustomed to that in many districts. I've asked John for some time because I want to take them through the superintendent survey. But very often, a member of the board will come and say, you know, these are we want to welcome you back from the board. We hope you enjoy all the new things that are in the building, that have been, that we were able to provide for you this year. We're looking forward to a great year. You've done a great job raising test scores, sally forth and carry on and all of that. And I think it's a nice gesture.
So not that I'm looking to speak at all about teachers, but I know, like, we talk about teachers, some teachers here, and I just don't know them because my kids haven't hit them yet.
Yeah.
Would it be worth the board going just so we can put faces and anything, putting face names out of the way? I'm thinking that might be worth it.
Where I was in Messinic, the board did a breakfast, a welcome back breakfast for the staff, and the board members, as many, came and were a part of that breakfast. And then said a few words, and then the principal said a few words, and I said a few words, and to kick off the year.
So what if we tried to steal that idea and just like that.
You know, it gets a little FaceTime if you can make it, and it does, it's the beginning, it's that gesture of we're all in this together.
Sure.
So then when I walk by some, if I don't, because I feel bad, like if I see them in town, I don't.
So we just have that in the cafeteria?
Yeah, you just have it in the cafeteria,
And
you
they
know.
would know who, the cook staff there would do the breakfast?
We could talk to,
or
the cafe
would-
services did it for us in Messina.
Really?
Yeah, we
Well,
hired
I know how
cafe
to make
services.
pancakes.
My wife makes it.
Well, the
awesome
school board,
breakfast
in
pizza.
Hollis, in Brookline, the school board served.
Yeah.
They served the breakfast.
Uh-huh.
They stood behind there and said hi, and every staff member went by and saw
I
what the
like
board
that
was.
idea.
Mhm.
And, you want me to talk to John about doing something?
Yeah.
Yes, I would like to,
Okay.
yeah, I think that's a great
Should
idea.
you put a name tag on?
Yeah, put a name tag on, and people should wear name tags, so
I think
we
it's
can put
great.
names and faces together.
Yep, that'd be great. I'd be happy to do that. Follow the chain of command, I think. Develop an effective communication system that avoids misunderstandings. I think that will all happen as we continue with this team, but if anybody has suggestions on that.
That was one of the things that came up in the strategic planning meeting, is that communication is so important.
Right.
We need to really be consistent, you know.
And we saw a lot of feedback was positive about having more communication. And you'll see in the next set of goals that I put down, what you did this year that helped to improve it. And I think just continuing to do those things at this point.
Yeah, well,
Just getting the message
I mean, one
out.
of the big issues, well, I mean, there's a couple issues about communication. One of the things is that came up this year is that when they're buying stuff that's in, like, out of their own
Yes.
pocket, that's in the budget for them to buy, they never ask for it. And that's, I mean, that's the type of.
That's the kind of thing we can say at the breakfast.
Right, but that's not the stuff we need as a board, need to make clear that we vote on the budget, it's there.
Every
Spend it.
single request that came across my desk came to you and you approved.
Right,
Not one supply was refused.
right,
And so there's a disconnect.
right.
Yeah, you know, there are, and there's always going to be people who just want to believe otherwise. But we just need to keep saying, you know, keep asking.
Mhm.
If you need it, we're going to make sure that you get it.
Right,
So,
And that could be something we do talk about at the opening day,
right.
yeah.
just in case there's any confusion.
Yeah, we're
about-
going into budget season again now. Please be thinking forward. We want to hear from you what you need to enact your curriculum. You've got the curriculum person, you know, et cetera. So,
Mhm.
good stuff.
Board community relationship, publish a paper newsletter once or twice a year, have done that. The board makes every attempt to know and understand what the community wants from the school. We're definitely trying, and it's hard to get that information, but the
The strategic
survey.
planning committee is
Did a
doing a
great
lot
job.
of work.
that.
And we'll be bringing that information to you as well.
Yeah, and the curriculum committee did that in
Yes.
the
Yeah.
day too.
Curriculum committee do too.
Legislative and governmental issues. The board seeks regular and scheduled meetings. Yeah, we don't. We probably should improve on that.
Oh, we don't
Yes,
understand
no, I
any
get
letter.
the letter out every day.
Yeah.
I'm laughing because I didn't do it first and that.
And, you know,
Tammy, what do you think?
No,
well, I can just email. I mean, do you want me to
You
write a
can.
formal?
Just email.
I just email, it'll take me 2 minutes, I can email all three of them,
Call them up on the phone, hey.
you know.
And that's the second meeting in September.
Yes, I have the date on my phone,
Okay.
so it is just our 2 local reps and the local senator.
Yeah,
We're
go
not-
for it.
We're not asking for Shaheen or.
No, just the local people so they can have your ear, so they can, you can
Right.
have their ear.
And the board accepts information and recommendations from the superintendent about upcoming legislative changes and updates. I would say yes to that. Risk management. The board ensures that issues are properly dealt with according to established procedures. And we do that.
Yeah.
You're very good at that.
Safety issues are brought to the attention of the board and dealt with effectively. Yeah,
Mhm.
like the windows, for
Yeah.
instance. is
Windows.
one of them. The board has adequate training in risk management. I don't know what that means, so probably don't.
Why don't you take a look and watch for,
No,
Yeah, what kind
and
of
see,
training?
we'll check Wash for Primex and see if they have any
Yeah, they have
upcoming
pretty good,
training on
yeah.
risk
Well,
management. It's basically, it's avoiding problems.
well, yeah, there's 2 types of risk management, there's the kids, the physical safety of the kids.
But there's also avoiding getting sued.
Yes, and there's also,
That's the
yes,
second one.
risk management is like following policy
Yeah,
and that sort
exactly.
of stuff.
Following
and
policy, making sure that your contracts are good, that you're
Right,
appropriately
that's the
managing the
other part of
business
risk management.
of running the district.
that you-
That's very
yeah.
important.
Okay, so maybe we can try to get some training in that, if we make a note.
We will
of that.
watch, we'll
Yeah,
watch
I
for
will.
that.
So as far as the board goes, do you want to add anything to this list? Do you think it's thorough enough? Do you want to take anything off of it that doesn't seem to need to be there? What do you think, you guys?
I think it's a very detailed and a great, a good list. It really covers, on all levels, so.
It's
great.
good to have that to go back and look
Yeah.
at and make sure you're continuing to.
I do that. When we're coming to a meeting and things, I'll look back to make sure that we're following this. I have it on my desktop, so,
The only thing you had under the fiscal management was the monthly reports
right,
basically being in either of the meetings.
right.
If the first meeting of the month is difficult for her, the second meeting could be better, we could reverse policy or something.
Yeah.
The only comment I'm going to make is that at some point, when we have this place running smoothly, we should be able to, except for budget season, go to more of one meeting a month.
Mhm.
At that point, the third Tuesday works very well for her getting it out, which is what she was saying, it's much more smooth, so.
Mhm.
So if you wanted to generalize that, we'll review monthly financial reports, period,
Right,
of those things.
right.
Would be adequate.
I think that's fine.
Okay.
Now, what about policy development? We met that goal.
Well, we're still doing it though, Andy, because that book is not up to date yet.
You've got a couple more things that have to be done, and then we might be able to call the 6-month period off. When I just got the School Boards Association update, legislative update
Right.
for all policies, and there are some policies that need to have words changed.
I mean, do we want to be more specific and say we want to review at least so many policies a year?
I wouldn't put that in here. I'm setting that goal based upon what we're capable of doing.
Okay.
And I've got a list of policies that are older than 6 years now, 7 years now, that we are bringing back on a regular basis. So I don't think it's necessary to be that detailed.
No, it keeps moving on. It's not like we've stalled or anything, so I think it's got a good momentum.
No, we're in such a good place compared to, we would go months without looking at policy. And that's what, one of the things we're supposed to be doing all the time.
Yeah.
And it's really what we're supposed to be making sure are followed as the board. Not so much how to do it, how to follow them, but that they're being followed by the people that.
And every
run
time
the
one
district.
is changed, it goes out to the staff. So they're getting more familiar with the policies. We're trying to orient the staff toward going to policy and using policy,
And reference, they just look.
and referencing it.
Someday I would love to have them all in, like a PDF of some sort, all of them, so you could search the word. Like, when I was looking for equipment disposal, I had to look and see which one would this be under and where would it be? And if you could just put it, the
Yeah,
words in
that's
the
the-
search
just-
field, oh my gosh.
School Boards
that'd be so much
Association website has that.
easier.
And, if you pay for their
Oh,
service,
okay,
it is searchable by word.
okay.
And that's, I know in the other districts in which I've worked, they've paid for it. It's.
We
not-
have it.
How much do they?
We
are-
do not have the policy membership.
I've got a password.
You have a password to get on, but our policies are not online.
Oh,
You pay to
Right.
have your school district
oh,
policies.
our own.
Or your
Put
own.
on there. Oh, okay.
And
But
then you
could-
can go
could
with
actually
your own
technically-
policies and what we did in SAU 41, because we pay for that service, is on your website, you just have the link and it brings you right to all the policies that are there, and you can search by word, you can search by, number, you can
Oh,
search
that's
by
cool.
whatever.
How much is it?
Yeah.
I looked it up, it's not cheap. The first year I think it's like 1,800, because they enter it all. And then it's less after that. It isn't that inexpensive, a service.
Well, we wouldn't need it though, because now that you say that, I could easily go to the New Hampshire School Board Association site, search their policies,
Yes.
because they have
That's
recommended
how I get their
policies.
policies.
And then when I find it, I can go to ours and look up that number, or
Yeah.
that letter.
Yeah, and that's
So-
what I do.
So it's just a
generally.
cross-reference, I can do
Right,
that.
but
It's cheaper.
eventually,
Never mind.
when some of the dust settles on it, we should be able to create an electronic document that is searchable.
Yeah,
We just need to get the software to do it, and do it ourselves.
every time I go to look at something, I go, boy, I wish there was a word search
I
on
go
this.
through that's what I do, I
Yes,
go
it
through
is.
the school boards
Yeah, it's a
association.
great idea.
Now, on our education program development, we have that, based on what we have written, should we have had John bring that math program he wants to use? Should that have come before the school board?
It's just in a pilot phase, and I'm having Lynn over, you're gonna find me a little crunchy on that, in that I'm a research-based educator. Research is very clear that the math program doesn't make a difference. It does not, changing a math program does not increase test scores. Having highly qualified, well-trained staff
Right.
is the difference. So if they want to change books, I have no problem with them piloting. I was a little concerned about the influence because the person who was bringing these texts with me is a former teacher in the school district. So this is a friend, you know, those influences are something that I'm gonna watch. For piloting one classroom, okay, I don't have a problem. We're not spending any more than the budget to do it, but I want to be shown that there is a difference between this fourth grade classroom and the other two fourth grade classrooms in this student learning before I'm gonna spend $50,000 in textbooks.
Oh, yeah.
So, if
Well,
it
we
gets,
spent $50.
if it comes to the board, it will be that I'm recommending it, but it's gonna go through all that first, before I bother the board with anything. So, they're gonna do their pilot, Lynn is gonna be overseeing the pilot, you know, and if it makes a difference, then we'll talk, and we'll see. But
And this
I'm
isn't-
skeptical.
This isn't part to address the issues we had from third to fourth grade, right?
No, that's
That's another issue. Okay.
What about parents?
And that's gotten better by the way, this year.
You have 3 different classes, you're gonna have 2 doing the same math program and 1 doing a different. How do parents take that? I mean, is there, you know,
It
I'm
would
just
be
thinking-
appropriate, and I'm a process person. To have this done properly, the idea of a pilot should have been put out to the parents last spring. Parents should have had the opportunity to ask questions. To have a night that we're going to pilot this, let them look at the books. If they have concerns, to express them. And if they wanted to opt out, they wouldn't be in that classroom. That would be the appropriate way to do it. It wasn't handled that way. I think that a discussion on process is an important part of what this whole thing is going to be about. But I don't see at this point that if a parent really objected, there would be a big problem with having to make a change. You know, I think that,
It was just more curiosity,
Yeah.
because I know, you know, that's, especially if if they're given that information, right when it's happening.
Yeah.
Versus ahead of time, or even after, if it doesn't, the
Yeah.
information has come out.
But again, it's not the book,
Yeah.
it's
Oh,
the
no,
teacher.
no, I
So,
know, but no, parents might not,
right,
you know, they're
they don't
not-
know that.
Right,
They don't know
exactly.
that. So that will be part of the orientation in the fall. That would be my guess. And I'll have to make sure that Lynn handles that appropriately with the
Yeah.
staff. But one of the things about this process system that I've built is that that's what you would do. Before you begin, there would be an entire well-thought-out process set out, written out, and it would actually be online. So when we're gonna pilot something, you can go to the we're gonna pilot process, and you're gonna have steps A to Z on how to handle it, and you just follow it. And then you get all your stakeholders, you get your decision makers, you communicate it broadly, people have the opportunity to have their input, make their choices as parents, as they should, and you have less problems.
Now, how are we doing bullet
Just
number
make it
one?
way too much sense, don't you think?
At our education program development, how is the
I
school,
followed that.
how is the school board doing bullet number one?
Of which one?
Where appropriate, the school board ensures curriculum supports community values and meets the school motto.
Oh, education program development?
Yeah, how is the school board doing
For
that?
appropriate school board interest curriculum supports community values and uses.
What have we done regarding that?
Well, we have policies in place, Andy, that say.
How do we ensure the curriculum supports community values and meets the school motto and goals? What are we doing to do that as a school board?
Very specific, that's a difficult question to answer.
All right.
I think if you had a complaint from a parent who said, for instance, years ago, we had an issue with the health program and what was in that curriculum.
Right.
And the parents came forward and said, whoa, put on the brakes, what are you teaching our kids at, fourth grade level here that we don't think you should be? And the board said, okay, we're gonna take that out of the program.
Right.
That's how you support the values of the community. It's when they come forward and they say, hey, what's up?
So we're not looking to preempt them, we're looking to respond to them.
Well, I think that
In
I
time.
think that the district needs to know that we're looking to make sure that our curriculum supports the community. And if they're gonna do something questionable, the board won't be supporting that because it doesn't support the community. So in other words, the message from the board for our goal is to say, be sure you're in tune with who's in town here and what people want to see in a curriculum.
And let me plug my own product again. In the SLIM, in the Student Learning Integrated Maturity Model, when you choose, every curriculum in the building is supposed to be vetted by the stakeholders, which includes the board.
Right.
So when you have a math program, the board should determine what the standards are going to be. Are they going to use the correct Common Core? Are they going to use the state standards? Are they going to build their own local standards? The board makes that decision, and then the staff pulls together the curriculum for its approval. And for those of you, this is one thing I love to because people have such a difficult problem differentiating between standards and curricula. The Latin meaning of the word curricula is the course of a race. Standards are the goal, the end of the race. The curricula is how you get there. So the teachers are writing the course for the race in their curricula, but the goal is the standard is the board's decision. And you're supposed to oversee the curricula and anything that goes with it. In a properly vetted system, everything should be run through the stakeholders and the board should make the final decision. And we have never done that as an education in this country, really.
Well,
So-
except that
In bits and
we adopt
pieces.
the New Hampshire frameworks, or we adopt as a board, we say, yes, we're gonna use the New Hampshire
Did
frameworks.
you ever have an official vote to do that?
I think we did. Then we voted to.
Then you're unusual. Most just
We,
don't.
I actually don't think we ever voted to use Common Core.
Yeah.
We were
No,
told
we were
we
told we
had
had
to
to.
use
You
Common Core.
use Common Core if you wish to be a part of the Title I program. If you want to boot Title I, you don't have to use Common Core.
Yeah, but we weren't asked.
Yeah.
It was, we have to do Common Core because we're a Title I school.
No. You're Title I because you accept Title I funds.
Right,
So it is a choice.
yes.
But anyway, that's a
Yes.
sidestep on that. And
It's
that
an
would
important point.
give you what you needed to answer that question. And now going forward, that's what I would be working toward, is bringing each curricula to you for your,
Right.
at this point, a late approval or disapproval.
I mean, because, my concern is, you read about it in the paper all the time about communities being surprised about
Right.
something that's being taught in the school. The school board gets surprised,
Yep.
is
You
surprised.
should never be surprised.
And that shouldn't happen. And, because there's all sorts of stuff going on in the educational
So,
establishment.
Andy, how do you think we could make sure we're doing that?
No, well,
At least
that's
on a
my-
regular basis?
That's my question,
Yeah.
how do we make sure we're doing that? I mean, how do we, how, instead of being reactive, how are we proactive in this? And maybe our education program will be our goal will be to figure out a way to be proactive in that.
And maybe
Well,
that's a goal for the year, is to take a look at how the board would like to structure
Right,
the process for it being,
Right.
for this particular goal.
right, that would be a goal. I don't think we can determine that tonight, but
No.
that could be a goal this year, something we'll talk about throughout
Okay.
the year.
But when we do the audit, the SLIM audit in the fall, it will point out to you strengths and weaknesses in that area.
Right.
And maybe after that, we can look at your questions.
Right, okay. So that would include I can't remember, somewhere else, that would include the reports that we get from John regarding the scores, the new one, all that other stuff.
That's the district goals, the
That's
school
the
district goals that we set for
Right.
the school, what
Right.
we expect to see from the district.
Right, but when we, okay,
So some of this is just what we do as a board, and then the next set. Did anybody else have any other changes to these or
Right.
concerns about some that we might
Right.
need to tweak?
yeah, I mean, honest, because in the past, we weren't always aggressive enough with when we saw areas flagging and demand results, which has not been true the last year, but part of that was a problem.
Well, I mean, sometimes we were told it was being done,
It wasn't me,
and it wasn't.
but that's still if we ask something to be done, it's our responsibility to make sure it's done, not just to take
Trust,
people's
but you
word for
verify
it.
it.
Trust but verify,
And you
that's
have to look for work products
right.
that verify what you're looking for. And that's
Right.
what an audit does, is it looks for work products that say, there are
Right.
minutes of meetings that say such, or there are worksheets, or there are books, or whatever.
Right, like
Okay.
if we want
Yep.
to make sure it was being evaluated, we would want.
You want to see
We
those
want to see
things,
verification that.
even if it's
is being done.
redacted or whatnot.
Mhm.
Right, yeah, I was-
Right.
you don't need to
Yeah.
have, just to make sure it's being done, that everyone's been evaluated. If you-
Or have an independent audit.
Even if you can call teacher one or teacher two, or
Right,
whatever like that.
exactly.
He's
Yeah.
gonna make sure that everyone's getting that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Alright.
Anything you guys else that, okay. And then the training for risk management we'll look into too.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, put that on the list, we'll check with Primex.
School district goals. Okay. Goal 1, the Fremont School District will improve the student achievement indicators of success. 5% more students meet their NEWA annual growth target in each subject.
Now, my understanding about, I went back and looked at the minutes, as far as the math issues, and the explanation was that the kneecap, one was in line with Common Core, the other one wasn't, and the NEWA isn't, and that's why we had more, we did well in the kneecap and not as well in the NEWA, right? And so, and then because the kneecap was along with Common Core, the NEWA wasn't?
No, actually, the NWEA is now aligned with Common Core.
Right.
I'm not exactly sure what your question is.
Okay, well, we had,
We haven't met that goal.
We haven't
I
met
think.
that goal.
We didn't make 5%.
Right.
5% was a lofty goal. When we set it, we made a guess. Let's see about what happens. It's the first time you set a goal, you
Right.
set it high.
right,
And then you get your results, and you see what, you made,
Right.
you made 3% in reading. The question is, why did you only make 1.4 in math?
right.
That's where your mind should be. What can we do to support math more? And my answer to that is always high-quality professional development for your staff
Mhm.
in teaching math,
Mhm.
because most of that comes out of your staff. So that's something to look at.
So when you say development, like conferences or courses, or what is?
And I wouldn't recommend necessarily workshops or conferences or courses. I would recommend bringing in people who are experts at pedagogy, teaching math, to come in as consultants into the classrooms and model for the teachers, work with them in meetings after having watched a lesson, feedback back and forth. I know Dr. Mahesh Sharma does that. He's been around the state in a number of places. He will contract with your school for a year, come in and work with your staff to make them better teachers of math. And frankly, I learned more math from him in a half an hour than I learned in an entire elementary school.
Now, and some teachers probably have 10% of their students showing growth.
Right.
Whereas some teachers have.
This is an average.
Okay, so you, as administrators,
It's their
because you
job
know
to
the
pick it
goal
up.
is
Yeah.
5%.
Yeah.
So if you have some teachers hitting 10 and you have some teachers not hitting 1,
Yeah, or negative.
are those the ones you actually target to help out? Or do you end up doing it across the board and everybody gets the training?
Well,
Because-
if you're gonna bring somebody in overall, there should be school-wide training, but also there should be targeted training.
Okay,
Targeted, as we do for kids. The whole
Mhm.
RTI premise is target what you need people to learn, or kids to learn. It's the
So-
same for adults.
and now on the school board level, I don't expect to see those reports because we don't get into the
That's
personnel.
right. Yeah.
But as an administrator, can you tell us if, from the school board perspective, if that is what you'll be looking at when you look at these numbers?
There
Like,
is-
do you actually drill down to that level?
There is a report that comes out of NWEA for self-contained classrooms,
Okay.
so that you know the kids that are with the particular teacher, that actually does show by teacher what the rate of growth is in those 2 subject areas for that teacher. And I did that as a principal. That was my job when I was in Allenstown. I did that. I printed those out and I gave them to each teacher so they could see what percentage of kids made growth in their classroom.
Doesn't
And-
our professional development plan actually requires us to have,
Data like that. That is
Right?
one of the reasons
Okay.
why we are moving K to 8 in NWEA, so that we can see those
Mhm.
comparisons.
okay.
Didn't John say that our math, because everyday math is not, we haven't gotten that line with Common Core, he said that's one of the reasons why we didn't show up as well in NEWA. But we did better in the kneecap because that's not aligned with Common, isn't it? I mean, I'm trying to think, I went
I
back.
don't remember him
that-
saying
that-
that.
I don't remember that per
I-
se, but I can say that Sanborn has done the work to align everyday math with the Common
Yes, it
Core,
has.
and I have sent everybody in that direction.
All right.
Why reinvent the wheel when they've already done the
Now,
work?
if we have,
Mhm.
you know, if we did have like teachers that were, students were doing as well in math in their classrooms, I assume that would go in their evaluation and they'd be put on.
That would, the 20% of their evaluation is supposed to be student growth.
Right.
With the new
With
system.
the new
The
system.
new system.
Yeah.
Not with what's been in place in the past.
Right, with a new system, so I would assume that there would be something in their
Absolutely,
evaluation.
absolutely,
And they
and,
could be put in the needs improvement, that would be needs improvement.
Yeah, your
Because if
students
the
are
kids
not
aren't
learning.
doing, if the kids aren't doing well in math, then obviously, or reading or anything else, there would be, that should be.
that's
marked as
what
needs
you
improvement.
target professional development for. If the teacher is weak in teaching math, then they need to have targeted professional development in that area to improve. And they should be improved as a result of that professional development, and that is part of the plan.
Do we bring something like what you suggested earlier, you bring someone in as a pedigree
An
teacher?
expert, yeah,
Have we done that in the past? That's,
I don't know if John has done that or not. That's something that I'd have to ask regarding, when I first came and I noticed the grade 3 math problem, it was very clear, evident to me immediately that we had a problem there. He had done some work in that area. We did see improvement there this year. But we're gonna have to continue to take a look at that. I'm going to, now that I'm less dealing with my issues up here, and she's dealing with all the issues, my hope is to sit down more with the administrative team and take a look at those things and provide some leadership in that area, using the data. For example, I pulled off of ESOP last week the number of days that each teacher had been out during the year for any reason at all. And we had one teacher who was out 29 days. And this was not a teacher who was ill or had a sickness in the family or anything. This particular teacher was out 29 days out of 185. And there are others that are not, or that are close, and then there are others that are here pretty much all the time. And I sent that data down to JR and John, and I said, you need to do something with this. We're gonna talk about this at the administrative retreat. I want teachers to get this list with the names gone except for theirs, so they can see where they are on the list, because this is the kind of thing I did. And if you see yourself at the top of the list, and everybody else takes less time than you, that's a statement. Also, we have an average here of about 16.4 days out per average for our teaching staff. Generally, across the state, what I've seen, the superintendents have been talking about this month, the average is about 14, some are as low as 8. So we're high for the number of days our teachers are out. And part of that is because we don't have any control over professional development. And we need that contract passed, where we would have had 3 days per week.
That was
so
part of our
what can we
contract.
do from the school board to help support this and make this better in terms of, contract, is there anything else we can do?
In terms of having students meet their annual growth target?
Yeah, to enable you to do that, I mean, is it us saying we want to budget money for that person, that you bring it to us?
It's you saying, that's not good enough, I want to see better, tell us what you need, and we go back and we put our heads together and we talk with the staff and we look at the data and we say, how can we target professional development to get better results here? And we come back to you, if it costs money, with a recommendation. If it doesn't cost money, we can just tell you that we're gonna do it. That's what needs to happen.
It's not always more money, it's maybe doing different things with the money you have.
Yeah.
That's right.
Than you're doing right now, because that's what it
Exactly.
sounds like
Yeah.
you're saying,
It's
is
a
more of
possibility.
the, somebody coming in and actually training versus.
Yeah, I didn't mean to say just money, but,
But
what
what
can we
can you
do? Yeah.
And that's, you have to set your standards. What does the board expect of the people who work for it? Set your standards and guide us to meet those standards. And if we can't give you a good reason why we're not meeting the standards, then we're not performing to your level of expectation. And that's kind of the way that I work, I set standards high and I say, reach. And people are amazing when they're held to, a high standard. They really step up to it. So this is the first year, this is your baseline data. You've seen 3% growth in reading and 1.4 in math. So we should see equal or better than that next
Right.
year. That's what you would look, I'd set it
Right.
still back at 5%.
Yeah,
Set it back at 5% and see how we do.
I think we should.
yeah, I'm voting that.
And then this needs to be communicated to the staff, that this is the priority of the board, this is the goal of the board. How can we make this happen? The board is here to assist us. This is a high goal, we know it, but what do you need to make this happen? What support do you need? And then we get that feedback and we try to give them what they need.
I mean, I think a big thing is, I mean, this is a hard thing to say, but, I mean, loyalty to the teacher should not exceed the need, or the students.
Student learning is the
Still are.
mission of the
Right.
schools, of any school, any place that's in
Right.
education. Student learning, the highest levels possible, is the basic mission of everybody here.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's supposed to be basic. Not
So,
not
we
all
don't-
schools work on that premise,
But
but
that's what it should
that's what
be.
it should be.
Yep.
We need that picture.
So this, yeah, should be on our district, like right on the district goals. But the goal 1 and 2 are, or actually, the way we have goal 1 and then we have 5% improvement of K through 2 measured annually. Now that we're doing NEWA K through pre-K,
We should get able to measure that
Right.
this year.
so we don't even have to have separate ones because that's what we're gonna expect
That's right.
from everybody.
Yes, yeah,
Okay.
that would simplify.
And then the differentiation of PSAT scores.
Yeah, we did talk about that.
Yeah, we talk about, what would be nice to know is why. Why are our students doing as well as they're doing? I mean, it'd be nice to know, you know, why.
As compared to the others, then you'd really have
Yeah.
to study, when you're looking at a comparison, we'd have to go in and study Newton and Kingston and see, you know,
Right.
the differences between them.
Right, because one of the things that you had just said that worried me is when we said they've already aligned their everyday math program to the Common Core, but if you look at their scores versus ours, we're doing better than they are. So do we really want to emulate something where they're actually,
There are
Unless
so many
there's-
variables. There's so many variables involved in teaching that it could simply be that the teachers are not as well trained. They may have the curriculum, but they're not good at getting it across. And our teachers are better at getting it across. It could be that our kids are smarter, that the water in Fremont is healthier.
Yeah,
You know.
we don't afford it, go ahead.
It could be any number of things.
I'm sure the demographics are different. They very well could be.
Yeah, so, you know, there are so many variables in that
Right.
kind of question, it's hard. I think that the question that we have to grapple with in the budget is whether or not Fremont wants to pay for the kids to take the PSATs. I think that is a great question.
Uh-huh.
And that's something.
I don't think money should ever be an issue for a child who wants to take a test for college.
And they can apply for scholarships, but it's a process, it's
Mhm.
difficult, it's embarrassing.
How much is
requires-
it per kid?
$50.
Yeah, it's like
Maybe.
$50.
I really,
It's
I mean,
not-
I'm
it's not a
thinking,
lot of money.
I've paid enough of them
I
recently.
Yeah.
Seems like they're never.
You know, and if we do that and we see 10% more of our kids applying to college and getting in, you know, that's worth the money.
Absolutely.
That is so
I
worth the
don't know
money.
if college is that much worth it anymore to this.
Oh,
I really, believe me.
But even the local
Yeah.
colleges, which don't have
Right.
high costs, are doing a great deal for kids coming out of high school and getting them better jobs than they would get otherwise. But just letting them know that the biggest thing
They
is,
can do it.
yes, they can do it. That's the big thing. I can apply.
Yeah.
I didn't think I could, now I can.
What do we have to do to change that, to support that?
October.
As the budget process. It's on my wall to bring forward.
Yeah, I would say let's do that because you're talking
Yeah.
Yeah.
50, 60 kids times 50.
And then we have to
That's
work
it.
with Sanborn High
But
School guidance
Like
department.
$200.
And to have them, you know, make sure that every kid knows that they are able to take the PSAT and no cost it themselves if they're a resident of Fremont.
If you get one or two that take that and thought at one point, oh, I can't go to college, you know, and all of a sudden they're like, whoa.
Yeah.
I
I
worked
mean,
at,
that
yeah,
alone.
Prospect Mountain, and it was unbelievable, the
Yeah.
percentage of kids that actually got accepted.
See, that's great,
Yeah.
because, you know, some kids don't have enough of the self-confidence.
I think my high school did that. I think they tested every
Yeah, we did.
junior.
Yeah,
We
we
just took it.
I think.
The school just, it
You
was
mean
paid for by the
switch
school.
the
Yeah.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
I think
I don't
every
remember
resident.
anything for that when I
We
was
took it,
in high school.
yeah. I took the SATs and
I probably wouldn't have gone to college
at 11th grade and
if they hadn't
12th
just had
grade.
me take them because
Yeah, we took the
We didn't have the money
SATs
to do that.
as sophomores,
Yeah.
sophomore spring, and then,
Well, I wasn't there since my sophomore year.
yeah, okay.
And see, when you get a high score, the guidance counselor's like, whoa,
Exactly.
this
Let's
girl
work on
needs to go
this
to
kid.
school.
Work on
And,
this kid.
you know, these are
Yeah,
people
you're
that
right.
probably wouldn't even consider it
And then
normally,
they
but when the
open
guidance
doors for you.
counselor notices that huge
Mm-hmm.
score and gives them feedback,
That's
a
true.
world opens up to them that they might not have
And
had.
well, one other thing that happens with the PSAT that is even more pointed than getting a high score is that your name goes into the college base.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's
And you
true.
start getting college
Yeah.
information
Mhm.
and programs and such. They see your scores in those colleges where you could get
Oh, yeah.
into, send you their information, they send you their financial aid information. They do all of that.
It puts college in their
Yeah.
visions.
Exactly.
That most likely wouldn't have been there.
And the colleges reach out to them.
Yeah, that's great.
So,
Google doesn't get them first. If Google doesn't.
Oh.
Google, yes, good point. We had that discussion. Google is hiring kids right out of high school now.
I've heard that, in
Yeah.
the six figures.
Yep, in the six figures. Yep, there you go, 6 figures.
And
Andy,
that's
you missed
just
it.
without,
Yeah, what's the career like? And what they do?
You missed it, Andy.
What's the career?
I don't know, I'm not, my mind is not.
programmers, like,
I'm
they're,
not great at
programmers.
this at all.
But, I mean, that's who's getting the six figures, is the people who can actually do the programming.
Oh, these are,
and the-
yeah, these are, a lot of these kids are just plain hackers, you know. Spend their nights hacking.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think that gets
Well,
us through
actually,
the.
may I ask a question here? On the,
K through two, we skipped
sorry.
over.
Oh, my glasses aren't on, so I was like, the 5% in K through 2 measure the annual student growth at administrative
Right.
discretion. Obviously, it's right there saying that they did not have any measurable, goal. I mean, they did not have any,
Before and after.
data.
Yeah.
But to me, how can they go for the full year without having any information? And I know.
They had information. They just had, in the fall, they had AimsWeb, and in the spring, they had NWEA, and they're apples and oranges.
Right.
Yeah, but how do you know, how do you progress a child without this information?
You can, you can still look at the scores they get.
Mhm.
You know, NWEA will show you the weaknesses,
Mhm.
precisely where they are in any given child.
Well, there's more information there than what, I think we can get more information
Yes.
from that, because
Yeah.
the professional development plan requires each teacher to say what they expect for growth in their classroom, I think.
Right, based on SLOs though, that's different from
Okay.
the NWEA.
Right, but we gave John discretion on that.
Right,
We said, just tell us how they're doing,
right,
whatever way you want, because he didn't want to be nailed down to a test.
but they don't have those yet. So this
So the
year we
teacher
couldn't
doesn't,
do
the
it.
teachers do not know how well their students grew last year from K through 2.
They don't have before and after data. They
So
don't
that
have a
answers
benchmark that is comparable to in a later test. That's the issue for this goal. It's not that they don't know where their kids are. They know where they are, but they can't say they got a certain score here and a comparable score here. They got a score here, which gave data, and they got a score here, but those two
So
scores
next
don't.
year, we'll be able to see.
Yes.
Because if we can't, we'll never know if we have a problem with grade 3 or if we have a problem with K through 2.
That's exactly right.
Because grade 3 gets these kids and we don't know where they're at,
Yeah,
so.
that will be taken care of by them all taking the same
Mhm.
test. And we don't get the Smarter Balanced until spring next year. And it'll be another year before we can get Smarter Balanced to Smarter Balanced.
Right.
So,
But
We don't want to over-test them either,
right.
but
But do we have like month by month ways that we measure student progress?
It depends, yes, in Treasures, there are unit tests.
Right.
In Everyday Math, there are unit tests,
Right.
and the teams are supposed to be using that data to take a look at student growth. I don't have the knowledge to say how they're used or if they're using it, that's one of the things that Slim will show, is how well those teams are functioning.
Right. Now, is that, those test results, where are they,
They're with the
Sure.
teachers, those are the grades,
those are the grades?
those are where the grades come
All
from.
right,
So that comes out on the report cards.
all right. So, but is it something that, I mean, how would, like John, look at that month to month, you know, like,
Assuming that they're high-functioning PLC teams, they all should give a unit test the same day,
All right.
under the same circumstances. They should have their students in order of score
Mhm.
and by question on a graph that shows these students got this right, these students got number 2 right, these students got number 3. They sit down, they look at the graphs, they say, your kids did really well in number 2, my kids did really good on number 4. What standard does those meet?
Mhm.
And they should be able to go back to the standard and say, what do you do to teach that standard?
All right.
That's theoretically the highest functioning PLC team. And it takes time to get there. I don't have the experience at this point with the staff to tell you which groups are there, which groups are on their way, which
Right.
groups are struggling.
What's PLC stand for?
professional learning communities.
Right.
It's a model for using data.
Right.
So that would be like the 7th and 8th grade teachers
Mm-hmm.
are PLC.
Right.
Well, it can be by subject area, it should be by subject area, so they may be in several teams.
Okay.
But basically, the idea is that teachers come together who teach the same subjects to look at their data. And they compare their data based on standards. The questions and the tests are tied directly to standards, and they can see how well their kids are doing on each standard. And then if somebody else is doing better, you learn from each other, and you raise everybody up that way. That's the idea.
So we, I mean, because like,
And John does meet with EGL.
right, because I, you know, I don't wanna see student progress just be measured like once a year.
No. These are the large normed tests.
Right.
Yeah. One thing about the NWEA, it is the largest normed test on the planet.
Right.
So if you want to know where your kids are compared to the rest of the world, that's the test you should look at.
You know, and from experience, when my kids took the NEWAs, they felt like they got a lot of feedback from it, because the test, the questions kept getting
Yep.
progressively
it's-
harder, and
Yeah.
the longer they did them, you know, and
Yeah.
they felt that they could tell if they knew something more than they did it before.
Yep. And that's the
And they
way
could see their score almost immediately
It
too,
did, yeah.
which makes them,
that's the difference between the NECAP and the NWEA, which is why most school systems use NWEA. Smart and Balanced will work the same way.
okay.
Right.
It is a test that you go in, your first 4 questions move you either up or down or across, and then you go like this until you get, and then it will give the same kind of feedback that NWEA does.
So should we keep goal 1 the way it's written, or do we want to just combine it all into the first, you know, the Fremont School District will improve student achievement indicators of success would be 5% more students meet their NEWA annual growth target in each subject, regardless of
Yeah.
grade, because we're gonna be doing NEWA.
I'd say collapse it, read
Right,
K through 2 and just collapse it down.
right, I think so too. Does that work, Betsy, for the school?
So K, you're gonna do K to 8, 5%?
Yeah.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yep. And then differentiation of the SAT scores for Fremont versus Kingston, I think it would be nice to continue to track that,
Yeah,
hoping that we
definitely.
continue to
Yeah, we'll
excel in
have
that.
Yes.
another baseline of data to compare it to,
Yep.
or a baseline and have
Okay.
something to compare it to.
And then goal number 2, the SAU and school board actually took 7 new actions to meet this goal this year. What was goal 2?
Goal 2, I didn't write it down, that didn't.
It's actually on the last page.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, right there, okay. The Fremont School District will improve communication and dissemination of information to the public and throughout the school district for the purpose of increasing student learning. Okay.
I think we should add that one more there, that we started posting the complete agendas for our board meetings.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
It makes it a lot easier for parents to follow and be involved and.
Packet, post packet.
Does
Yeah.
everybody want to leave that goal there?
So, I mean, other things to add that we did on the website, it's on there, yeah?
Yes, the website's just come out, the new website.
Yeah.
That's a huge communication tool. You guys have done a lot this year.
So have you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So have you.
I'd say, you know, leave it, you know, see what
It
else. we
feels
can
like
come up
it.
with.
It's nice to have someone. Okay.
Should you add the newsletters that are emailed out
I
regularly
think
as
that's
well?
in there.
Yeah, that's the first one.
Oh, yeah, the
Oh,
newsletter,
okay.
yeah.
I see that
School
now.
newsletter.
Mhm.
Without glossy paper.
No more glossy pen.
So leave 2 alone then, as far as the actual goal though?
Right.
Continue that goal?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'd like to add
I
new
mean,
things to it.
Yeah.
Because I think by seeing it there, it's showing.
And then there's,
Reminds
was
us.
stated last night, there's been the public input that we got from back in the planning committee go on. There's a lot of communication happening there, so,
Yeah, it's a lot of positive, you know.
yeah.
a lot of
Yeah, yeah.
Communications going on.
okay, so we'll leave goal 2 and goal 3, the Fremont School District will support targeted professional development to improve student learning tied to the academic goals in goal 1. It sounds to me like we may need to reword that to make sure, because it doesn't sound, Betsy, like you really think professional development.
We need to look at a higher level of professional development. And that, that's something, one of the reasons why I've got the retreat, the administrative retreat, is to take a look at, we have X number of days, and what are the goals? And how do we get in, you do have to do some housekeeping professional development. It's just stuff you have to do that you have to do every year that's gonna take up time during the professional development days. But what are our biggest goals and how are we gonna meet them? And then really target based upon that, get them set up at the beginning of the year, so that we have the people that we need to come when they can come. Make it happen.
So should it say support targeted professional development or support,
I think the targeted is essential.
is it, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's
I just
char,
wanted to
in
make
other
sure.
words,
Right.
it's what we need.
Right, now that if we have it, if we're doing well in one area and not so well in the other, we make sure that that area, all areas are being addressed.
Yeah, and this points
Not
back to.
just professional
the,
development in general, because that could mean, taking first aid courses.
And we do have to do some of that, but,
Yes, we do.
that's aside from the goal. The goal is to make sure that we get that targeted professional
Right,
development.
and it's aimed towards student improvement.
Yeah.
It's
Right.
not just aimed
The,
towards.
well, aimed, it's
Yeah.
tied to the academic goals
It's
in
not
goal 1.
it's just not the routine, we're just not going through the motions,
Right,
giving the minimum,
filling the day,
filling the day,
filling the day,
giving them what they're supposed to get.
yeah.
What's
Will
required
best
to
serve-
get moved.
What will best serve student learning?
Right, so.
Okay, and then moving forward, Betsy had some suggestions for us, as well as, of course, if you guys brought any with you, too, for.
These were the throw out for conversation.
Right. One of them was the district-wide administration will provide high-quality evaluation for all personnel resulting in improved job performance.
Yes, that's one, I was hoping to see it there, because I think that's the one area that we really need to, my goal would be right now, that every one of our personnel is evaluated annually. It's something that's a goal, we haven't met that, and that would be a goal that the school board would need to.
It
Well,
should
the
be
plan-
done under the new system.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You won't get a summative every year, but you will
No.
have evaluation. There will be walkthroughs, there will be
Right.
goals, there will be goal reviews.
Right.
People will be focused.
So we need
Right,
to-
because that new eval plan,
Right.
teacher
Yeah.
support,
TSEP
right,
Right.
teacher support evaluation
and
plan.
evaluation.
It doesn't, some of the teachers that do get into the higher
Right.
evaluation, they won't be evaluated, like you said, summatively, it's like every 3 years.
Every 3 years. It's
if
for
I
the
remember right.
certification cycle, but they are still observed.
Right,
Right.
There's still observations every year, and they set goals, and they need to have goal meetings to discuss the progress of those goals every
Right.
year. That was different this year, because I made them do that.
Mhm.
So, yeah, I mean, my goal would be to get, we need to get, then the evaluation are usually done at the end of the year. But I think, I think the school board needs to get, like, quarterly reports as to the status of the evaluation.
What I would suggest is that John could put in his report the number of teacher observations and the
Right.
number of walkthroughs he
Right.
completed each month.
Yeah.
Right.
And then you'll
Good
see the
idea.
numbers, so just those numbers, that's
That's
all you need to know.
see.
Yep.
We don't need to see
Right.
the,
Yeah.
yeah.
Right. And he's not the only one doing the
JR
walkthroughs
will
and
be
stuff,
doing
right?
them, and
So
Melissa will be
if we
doing
could
them.
just
Right.
have a breakdown of how many each person's doing, that would be fantastic.
And how often would we get those?
Monthly, in the monthly report.
All right.
Yeah, it's
Good
very
idea.
simple, just, I did 15 walkthroughs, I was in 15 classrooms for 15 minutes this month, and I did five formal observations.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm. That's good. That'd be great to have.
Yeah,
So that would be like goal 4,
okay.
right?
Yeah.
I would think if everybody
Right.
Yeah.
likes that, I think
Yeah.
it'd be great information to have. It
Yeah.
gives them something to work towards. I don't think we need to dictate to them how many evals they have to do or walkthroughs. Unless it
Well, they have
looks
to-
really, really low, when we see it, then we might want to change that and
The
say.
number that they have to do to comply with the new evaluation plan is pretty high.
Mhm.
So you'll see it pretty high. And
Mhm.
my direction to them is any new teacher gets observed within the first 2 weeks of school, the next month, and again by December. They should have 3 observations before the end of the first
Mhm.
semester.
That's
Because
great.
we want to know if we're going to keep them.
Yeah.
You know, we also want to know if they're doing a decent job.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Yeah.
Right, well, yeah, I mean, every teacher should have whatever their level is on the evaluation.
Yeah.
That needs to be met by the end of the year,
Yeah.
every single teacher.
Yes.
We don't.
And
miss
Lynn will,
anybody.
and I will have Lynn do some work with that as well.
All right, they can't be missing. So how would we know at the end of the year whether everyone's?
If you look at the plan,
Was.
we should be able to get an accounting of the number of teachers, according to the plan, who should have had a summative report.
Right,
And and John should be able to say there were 6 summative reports, and I should be able to verify that.
all right.
What about the non-teacher staff?
Then
The support staff?
the support staff has their own evaluation system, and I require that the support staff be evaluated annually, period.
Right.
It's just the way it is. They have a much simpler system, so it's not
Right.
so cumbersome, and that's,
Would it be worth putting those numbers just to break down on
sure.
how many support staff have
Right.
theirs, how many are left? or-
Well, it should be, I mean, done, how many are done?
Yeah,
Basically, they're mostly done in the spring. We let
Okay.
them go for the
Right.
year, and then we evaluate them. It's different from teaching staff. But there should be, you know, as I said for the end of last year, I required that every custodian, every secretary, everybody had.
and those
their-
were all done?
Yeah, and Yvonne kept a list,
Right.
and when they came in, and I read every one, and then we put them in their files.
So I know the paras, I think every one of them had been evaluated
Yeah.
last year.
Well, probably what would be nice is just at the end, when it's done, just having that checklist that
Right,
you would know if
Mhm.
everyone is done, and just letting us know, like at a certain
Right.
point,
Mhm.
you have your own time frame. I don't know, the second week in this month, they're all complete.
Right.
well, they need to be complete before April 15th.
They need to be complete by March 15th.
March
Yeah.
15th,
Because we
yes.
renew on
Change
April
the date.
15th. My
Yeah.
date is,
eval.
yeah, the eval system is March 15th.
Right,
What you need from me are real numbers. Don't settle for, yes, they're done.
no, I want
You
real
need me to
numbers.
tell you that 13 teachers are in the 3rd year of their certification cycle, and 13 have been completed.
Yep.
Expect real numbers from me.
That's
You
what
should
we
be
want,
able to.
I want real solid
Yeah,
numbers.
I
Don't
want
need
that,
names.
what you
Good.
said.
Good.
That's
Hold me to
that's
that.
exactly what we're
Make me
thinking.
do my job.
Can you say that again, please?
She's got it on the table.
Okay.
Make me do my job. I should be able
Got
to
it.
provide those for you, and therefore I will be making sure that people below me are doing it.
Okay, got it.
Okay, another goal that Betsy suggested was to consider the Ellis School will move out of the focus school designation.
I like that one.
That's an ongoing goal.
Right.
That's what we are working toward. And that means that we have to target our gap and work toward alleviating that gap. I think that's a very important goal.
Mhm.
Do we have stats on that, Betsy?
We do.
So do we know how many students in our school are economically disadvantaged?
Yes, we do.
And what does that mean? So
That
maybe,
means they receive free and reduced lunch.
okay, so, and what does that mean? Like, is there
That
an
means-
income level for the family that isn't met?
There's a very specific application for it. There's an income level based upon the number of people in the household. And they qualify therefore reduced or for free lunch. And we have a very clear number on that.
Okay.
Probably about 20% maybe.
20% of our kids?
Yeah.
It's higher.
Between.
We'll talk about that tomorrow.
It was about 98 last year.
Was it really?
Mhm.
No?
I would guess it was closer to 30.
Okay.
All right, and, I think we're missing some people.
We could be.
Yeah. So if that's a goal, then all that the administrators of the school do is work really hard to try to get rid of the gap, right?
You have to target,
Where you go?
one of the first things I did last year when I knew that they were a focus school was I went directly to Sarah and I said, what are you doing to help the kids that are in the gap? And I said, this is when there wasn't anything other than we're working with them, we're tutoring them. So I said, okay, let's be specific. We're gonna take out the kneecap scores, we're gonna look at the goals of the standards that these individuals are not meeting, we're gonna cluster them by standard, and we're gonna tutor them on that standard. And that made a huge difference. I mean, we went up significantly.
So,
We're gonna do that kind of thing.
so economically disadvantaged students aren't necessarily special education, though,
That's correct, yeah, so we will find those
Okay,
kids as well.
so if there's 90-something,
Yeah, they fall under
and
Title I.
only half of them are special ed, then that's the only,
Generally, that group will fall under Title I, and we capture them there.
okay.
Yeah.
So they're not special ed, but the Title I catches
Yes,
them.
and we
Okay.
have the intervention teacher also this time.
So as a school board, how would we
Make a
monitor
difference.
this? I mean,
The data's already there. It's that index score.
but we don't get that to the end of the year.
We don't get it until the end of the year.
Right. So, I mean, how do we, as a school board?
You get it when we get it, no?
I mean, you set goals, or the people who are gonna be responsible for this will be setting goals,
Mhm.
and how to achieve that.
Mhm.
Should the school board be privy to those? Should we know what you plan to do I mean, shouldn't we be asking, what do you plan to do to address
You
this
can
issue?
certainly ask to see the goals of the teachers.
Yeah,
You can, and when we set the administrative goals, they will
Right.
definitely be presented to the board.
right,
You know, those kinds of things are certainly things that you can ask for.
Right.
There are personal and there are professional goals. The personal
Right.
goals belong to the teachers, the
we don't,
professional
we
goals
don't need those.
belong, and the SLOs, you can certainly ask for those. Those are
Right.
measurable goals that every teacher has to have
Right.
for their students. They have to have
Right.
two. So you could ask for
Smart learning objective, right?
student learning
Student
objectives.
learning, so, see, I got the last part.
Yeah, those are smart goals. They're
Smart goals.
They are smart goals. They are specific to the academics. X number of students, or 80% of the students will achieve X.
Right.
And you should get a report on those and graph it out.
We
You could
should.
certainly have that.
Yeah, I mean, if we want to monitor what we're doing about coming out of focus schools, we should know what the school's doing.
Should we initiate the report, is that something you put on a calendar?
Let's see how things settle during the year. That would come in the spring. And we could take a look at how best to lay that out.
Because I just, personally, I wouldn't know when to request some of that.
Well, SLOs, they have to do the rest of those in the fall. They have to do their goals in the fall. By September 30th every year, they have to have their goals. And we could do without, it would be interesting for you to see this, and I'm thinking from my school board hat here. We could redact all names and just give you a list of all the goals,
Right.
for you to just take a look at what the goals are. It would be very interesting to take a look at. And, not that you would see who the teachers were, but what the goals are in the building.
Right.
Would be very interesting to look at.
Well, not that, but if we're talking about focus school, we know that there's certain groups that did not perform.
That's correct.
So we would be wanting to look at,
That's your special education and.
yeah,
economics.
what is the school doing specifically to address those targets?
Those would be administrative goals, not teacher goals, because those kids are
Right.
spread across every classroom.
Right,
So it would be asking Melissa, what are you doing to address
Right.
this situation?
Right.
And asking John, what are you doing this year? What are your goals
Right.
and your actions, steps to address those problems? And those would be September questions.
How would you help
Right.
the kids that were economically disadvantaged, but not in Title I?
Then they're probably fine.
So if you're, so disadvantaged, you're not in Title
No,
I?
no.
Okay.
You're only in Title I if you are not doing as well as your peers. So
Okay.
if they are economically disadvantaged and getting straight A's,
So the odds that they're not in the subject.
yeah. So it's
That's a bummer, that should be the whole group up.
absolutely.
I mean, seriously, if you think about it, they're because they're, no,
But
But,
shouldn't
interesting.
the information
And some kids do that.
that they're following for the focus school, shouldn't it have a lot of this information that we're asking for to begin with when they do a plan of action? For
You mean like the
focus
focus monitoring plan, which is, yes, there, a lot of that is in there, and it is in Industar. And that's where that information is the Industar, and there's data in Industar against those goals.
Yeah.
I will admit, that's not a place that I have spent my time.
I went there, it's like, yo.
And I need to get,
Pages and pages
Pages of
just
stuff.
minutia. It's
yeah,
like-
and that's what Stephanie Allen is being paid to put the data in. She's
Yeah.
tracking all the test scores and stuff in there. I need to get some orientation to that, and I will this year,
Yeah.
and get it explained to me so that I can help you with it. Because some of your questions might be answered in that.
Well, yeah, but I would assume that the teams have already come up with goals and they're
Right.
following them through the focus school program, protocol, whatever they have set to try to get those scores up.
They are
Makes
in there,
sense to
they
me.
are in there. The question is, are those goals doing what they need to do?
Yeah.
And if you look at how well we did this year, they are. The school made remarkable progress this year, remarkable progress
Right,
this year.
it did.
They really did, and we have to keep our eyes on that. They did an excellent job, and I believe personally, a lot of that was the targeting of those kids at the beginning of the year before testing. Let's get these kids in and let's see exactly what they needed to learn.
And we got the Title I, the woman who came to talk to us,
Yeah,
Melissa
Melissa.
Holmes, she was fantastic, and she gave us that rundown of what she was doing to,
Right.
I think that was great, and it would be nice to see that again, just to hear what she's up to and what she needs and how she's doing and all that.
The Title I cover, it essentially pays for itself, so.
Yeah,
But she may come forward with a request or two, we'll see how she does, because we're not getting as many funds as we got.
That's a question I want to ask you. What if there's only so much funds and you have more children that require instruction? Is that?
I spent the day explaining this to Susan.
we're gonna have to
Oh,
charge
gosh.
them.
Just
kidding.
Title I isn't a program. Title I is an amount of money given to your school
Right.
Yep.
that is to be targeted for kids who are at the bottom of the academic pile. You're supposed to rank order your kids, and if you can only pay for a 0.5 person to come and work, then you do a 0.5 person's amount of time with those kids, and those are the kids that get it. You know, if it's 15, that's all that they can do. 15 kids get it, no matter how big or how small your school is. So what we're seeing is, we've seen a reduction this year in our Title I funding. We have Melissa set at a 0.8 in title because we're paying some of it, and so she has to be set at a 0.8, and she uses the 0.2 for data time. But we also had an aide who was being paid out of special education working in Title I, which was not supposed to happen. Half-time. And Melissa's going to need her full-time, so we're going to be she's not going to be working for Title I this year. And she was working 0.5 as a tutor, a paraprofessional in Title I. And Melissa has been dealing with as many as 60 kids. I don't know how this woman does it. So what'll happen is those kids, some of those kids, probably 20 of them or 25 who have received in the past, who still qualify, won't get it unless we are willing to hire someone to assist Melissa. So we have talked to Melissa to go to John. She needs to talk to him about the load she has, determine how much time she needs, and put together a proposal where we would have to hire a regular education aide to work specifically with Title I students. But,
That'd be paid out of Title I, right?
no,
That wouldn't be.
No.
There's only so much
if-
Title I
So if
funds.
our,
understand
if
what
our
you're saying,
students are increasing in Title I, it sounds like the need is increasing, but
No.
the money's going down?
no.
It's on the threshold. of
Yeah, it's,
need.
every school sets its own threshold.
Okay.
You rank order your kids using, if you do it properly, you do a triangle. You do like NWEA, kneecap, and their grades.
Mhm.
And you line them up and you average it out, you get a final score, and you rank order the kids 1 to 100.
Okay,
And then if you are a Title I teacher who has 20 hours a week, and in that 20 hours you can deal with 30 kids, you take the bottom 30 kids.
okay.
That's how the program is set.
Right.
If that's
Okay.
how much money you get from Title I, that's how many kids get it under
Okay.
Title I. A school can always, a district can always make a choice to provide more tutoring, but that's as much as Title I is going to
Okay.
do.
Okay.
And that's how it's done.
So, yeah, bottom line is, just because we only have enough money for this, but then there's additional students that need it, those students still need to get some type of support.
Something, but it won't be under Title I.
Exactly.
Because Title I is what is
Yeah.
paid for by Title I. Now, my question that I'm threw out this to John and JR today is, you have a reading teacher, you have Title I, and you now have an intervention specialist. These three people need to work together to handle that group
Yeah.
in whatever they fall into.
Mhm.
And the question will be to Melissa and to John, when they work through this, is do we need this person in addition to this, or is this new intervention person, because they're not half-time special education and half-time tutoring regular ed kids, able to handle that overflow? Can we do it that way? That's gonna be my question before anything comes before the board. So it's going to be looking at the load, and continuing to provide as much service as possible.
Right.
But getting back to originals, basically what the school board is looking for is, what are you doing to address the focus group issues? That's all we need to know.
Right, and they are, and
We
then you're
just-
right, the
we just
InduStar
need to know-
system is in there.
Right, we need to know what, I mean, just,
Right.
you know.
So you'd be looking again for, in the reports,
Right,
that first question in the administrative report is how are you working, what are you doing to work toward the goals of the school board or the
Right.
district? That's where they need to put that stuff on a monthly basis.
right.
So we would need that as part of the report.
Or, I mean, or you see the begin, or just actually, we only need to see it at the beginning of the year. Right?
Yes, but you would want updates.
Right.
And
Is
it's a
it-
good thing for the
right.
staff to have to be reminded every month that I need to pay attention to
Right.
this, I need to be checking on it.
Yeah, so we need to know the goals and say, are they being met?
Yes, how to go this month,
How to go this month, right?
and they should be measurable so they can make some comment.
So that would be goal 5 then.
Yeah,
All right.
And then the next one, the Fremont School Board and the San Juan Regional School Board will achieve a mutually agreeable conclusion to the concerns
Yeah.
revolving around the tuition agreement.
this came out in the strategic planning information. And you have to remember that we didn't have a lot of responses, but among the responses that we did have from the parents, which was about, what, 27, something like that?
Yeah, 26, I think.
27. 27.
Is it 27?
Of the 27, 1/4 were happy with the Sanborn tuition agreement. 3/4 were not.
Right.
And among the residents in town, probably 1/3 were happy and 2/3 were
But
not.
it was much less.
So this is a big issue everywhere. People, there's information all over the place,
I do that all the time.
we need to settle it. We need to get this, put it on the shelf and get on with our
Now,
lives.
now, my only question about that goal is, should we just, I mean,
The goal is to come out this way,
right,
it may
should-
not.
oh, because
How is this
we just wanna come to a
district goal?
conclusion.
Why isn't
It
this a
doesn't
school
really
board goal?
necessarily mean it's gonna be mutually agreeable.
I think
Right.
this should be a school board
Or
goal
put it as a
and not a
school,
school
yeah.
district goal. That should go into our other list.
Right,
What do you think? I mean, to me, it's not, this has nothing to do with the
Nothing
administration
to-
or what we're
Right.
asking the
That's
district to
true.
do.
Yeah, that's true.
They don't have anything to do with
and I
this.
don't, and I don't think it
That's a
should
good
say
point.
mutually agreeable, I think it should just, will achieve a
The
conclusion.
goal is to have a mutually agreeable, it would be the best solution. The
Not
best solution,
necessarily.
well,
Actually, I think the board needs to decide whether or
Right.
not that's what we want.
Right.
Right.
But I think that the town would like to see us come to a mutually agreeable conclusion instead of a war.
Well, I don't think
What's the difference?
nobody wants a war.
Well, what else is there? There's a mutually agreeable, or there's
Not
discontent.
mutually agreeable.
unreconcilable, or there's.
No,
If
What
you
else
could,
is there?
in the best possible, these goals are set up to be
Right.
the best possible situation.
right,
The best possible situation is to come to a mutually agreeable, satisfactory conclusion that you guys like and they like. That is the best possible scenario. That's why the goal's set up that way.
So I say it's moving on to the school board.
Now realistically, maybe not, but that's the goal.
Shoot for the
This is the
sky.
goal. Yeah, shoot for the sky.
I mean, yeah, unfortunately, you can't really, I
Well, reword it.
can't. I mean,
Reword it to say what you wanted to say, like, what would you?
I just say that we'll achieve a conclusion to the concerns revolving around the tuition, that's what I would say, just a conclusion. That by the end of the year, something's gonna happen one way or the other, period.
But wouldn't you like it to be good then?
I just want
How
something
about-
to happen.
how about the
I mean,
Fremont School Board and the
don't care.
Sanborn
It's
School
gonna be-
Board?
It's gonna be good for us.
Well,
I mean-
just to get it resolved.
Yeah, to get a result is gonna be good for us. It doesn't matter whether they like it or not. It's because we're gonna do what's best for our students here, what's best for the town, whether Sanborn likes it or not. And so, So basically, I just want the situation resolved, one way or the other.
So I think that it should be worded, and this should be a school board goal.
Okay,
The
Yeah,
Fremont School Board and the Sanborn Regional School Board will resolve the concerns revolving around the tuition agreement,
That's good.
once and for all.
yeah, once and for all, yeah, period.
Until
That's
that's
it.
to start.
Yes.
Exclamation point,
Kiss the
underline, italics, bold type,
bold underline.
yeah.
Okay, so the Fremont School Board and the Sanborn Regional School Board will resolve the concerns revolving around the tuition agreement. Got it.
And that's gonna be a school
School
board.
board goals, separate and distinct from the district goals. So we have 5 district goals and 1 school board goal.
How much more time we
Anybody,
got?
did anybody else want anything else? We don't have anything.
What did you just say?
We will have 5 district goals up to the Ellis will move out of focus. The district goals are revolving around the school. Although the district goals are really the district, not just the school.
Wouldn't it
Which is why I had this in here.
wouldn't the last one be a school board goal?
Well, that's what we're just saying, is that going to be a goal for the board?
So we're gonna add it on to what we currently have. So it's
It
more
would,
than
yeah,
one.
it would be separate and distinct from the
Yeah.
district. Right. It would go with the others.
All right. So,
Bold too.
We have our goals.
are we good? Does anybody have any others that they would like to achieve? Is there anything you're?
Well, you know,
Itching to
one,
do.
yes, actually, there
Have
is
a
one
year without
thing.
too much drama?
There is one thing
Go ahead.
I think we need to achieve. I think we need to take a look at our physical plan
Okay.
and decide whether we're going to maintain it or build a new one.
Isn't that a strategic
This year?
plan?
Well, no, decide.
No.
I think we need to take a look at our physical plan again and decide whether it's adequate for Fremont's needs or whether we need to start looking at.
Do we want to put together a building study committee, a facility study committee?
Yeah, we
And
had
have them
one.
report out at the end of the year?
Yeah,
Right.
but it was a long time ago, Andy. It was before.
No, I think we should.
We had a long-range facility planning committee
Right.
that we commit, the school board commissioned a committee.
Right, that's what you
And
typically do.
we had them, we assigned them with a job, and then they brought us the report, and they told us what they thought, and we all went, yeah, like, that's ever gonna happen.
So we
And,
want to avoid doing that.
and thank the Lord that we actually didn't do it, honestly, because the population fell out of bed,
Yep.
the economy went
Tanked.
down the
Right.
drain, and we would have had an empty shell of a building
Yeah.
for what they had
Right.
proposed, so, you know, not that their work wasn't good, it was, and
Right.
the demographics showed that we were gonna have this growth, but we
Right.
didn't, and
That
instead we
happened in
had
a lot
a
of places.
huge, you know,
100 kids. yeah.
drop in enrollment. So, sure, I don't have a problem putting a committee together again, looking at the old
Right,
plan, taking it from there, and bringing it into today's demographics.
right.
What I would suggest is that you charge the committee with a very specific charge.
Yes.
And that would be, you come back and report to us as to whether or not we should upgrade the present building, or we should build a new building,
Right.
or we should divide the building.
Mhm.
Those would be the 3
By
things.
middle school.
Like keep the kindergarten down where we are and,
Yeah.
you know, move grades 4 through
Got
8
it.
up to another building.
Mhm.
So those would be your 3 questions. Which of the 3 would you recommend, or put them in order? Put them in an order of recommendation with the reasons why.
Right.
And make sure that you know, include all stakeholders. and all
Because
that.
like I said, like I've been saying for a couple of years now, these bond issues are going to be paid off. There's going to be an opportunity to, in that physical plan, I don't think there's anyone who can agree that physical plan is adequate as it currently
It
exists.
certainly isn't well played.
No. Well,
It's
no.
like a house you move into and you keep having kids, you keep putting a room here.
It's a hodgepodge.
And a room there, you know.
I mean, they just added stuff without, except for the latest edition, which is pretty good, but up to
Some
then
of
they
the
just.
additions are nice. that
The
they did.
additions are, but
The
I
new
mean, the middle school wing and
Yeah, but they
that
didn't.
wing on the
Well-
left is awesome, I think. It's just the old section of the school that needs to be kind of gutted and redone.
Yeah.
If that's what the committee decides.
And
Just my opinion.
And you need a music room, you know, a real music
Yes.
room. You need, you
Yeah.
know, you're getting a real art room.
Right.
There are things that you need to have.
We need a bigger science lab.
A shop.
You need a
We're
shop.
putting all this money into the
I was
school
just
right
thinking that.
now, you know?
Shop actually isn't done a lot anymore.
Doing shop?
Yeah,
I
it's
think
less than
that-
that.
Well, high school has,
High school.
high school has
I
all
thought
this.
it was required to be middle school.
I
Not
think-
anymore.
Oh, no, but, okay.
Sewing and actual stuff is not, required.
But because the thing is, it's
Maybe when
like,
you're in elementary school.
right, that's right, no, I mean, we really need to take a look at that, because, I think the opportunity to move ahead is now.
So we
If
should
you
put it
wait
on the
5 years,
agenda.
it's gonna be too late.
Let's make it out an agenda item for
Right.
charging a committee, so you need to think about your charge and how
So that wouldn't be
specifically.
a goal, it would just be something.
That would be something you would do, charging a committee. You don't need a goal.
I think that's a good suggestion, Andy.
And you need to know
Right,
how you're
got
going
that.
to structure that. How many board members are going to be on it? Do you want someone else to facilitate it? Or who do you want to facilitate it? What your membership will be?
How much we want to fund it, because NESDEC did a bunch of demographics for us back then.
And they're all,
Yeah, so,
They said that they, yeah.
well, but they were, I mean, they
We can
found the
look at
conventional
this.
thinking at the time, though. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
okay, so
Everyone
put that as
thought
an
that
agenda
there'd be-
item on the next meeting.
You know, I mean, it wasn't.
All right, I think we're good then. So we'll go into non-public, if we're done with this.
Yep.
We need a motion to go into non-public for RSA
Can we
91.
take a 3-minute recess first?
Well, we can recess in non-public,
Yes, you
if you
can.
don't mind. Okay, so RSA 91A:3, Roman numeral 2A, non-public minutes of June 25th, and then exit interview data and superintendent self-survey data.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call,
Brian, aye?
Raise on.
Dean, aye.
Hold on.
Motion.
I'm not sure you need to.
I agree with
Now, not if you're going to staff anyway? Okay.
Right, and so where's the seal? Wait a minute, there's,
The exit interview data can be covered.
Oh, right, what I
very
said about
quickly.
Sarah's thing.
which does.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's good, it's gonna be public anyway, so,
We just won't refer to it by name.
yeah.
Okay, future and follow-up agenda items. I think we should put down superintendent eval. And what we normally do, Betsy, is we meet together in non-public, and everybody does it at home. They fill it out, and then we kind of get together and just go over the things, and then we compile it all, and then we bring it to you. So it's usually one meeting where for us to do that, and then another meeting where we sit with you.
Just let me know when you want me to put it on the agenda.
I think it'll be the next meeting
Okay.
in non-public. And then I will forward everybody a copy of the latest
Right.
one, the one that we got at the, we
Right,
got it at the NHSBA when we
Right.
went to the workshop.
right.
So I'll forward everybody a copy of it, I'll
yes.
scan it and forward it. And then you can fill it out at home, and when we get together, we'll compile it.
Right.
That way gives everybody a chance to speak up on it. What other future and follow-up, you had a couple, the committee,
The building committee, I think whether we wanna do self-evaluation with school board.
is it called a self-evaluation? Yeah?
I call it a self-evaluation,
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
self-evaluation survey.
So those are two I have for future follow-up.
Anybody else have any?
So, I don't know where it fits in, but something to think about for the next big public meeting at the school is with the new wireless, if we can get guest access set up for them that's segregated.
I believe that has the capacity to do that. I'll check with,
Yeah, so it'd be worthwhile to start thinking about now, so
yep,
once everyone gets here, we could be ready for it.
yeah. Yeah, we wanted to do that here, but it doesn't have the capacity to do it, which is another reason to get a new node.
Yeah.
New router.
I mean, one thing that has been my bugaboo is I asked Sue for the, what we're paying for premiums for insurance. I want to put together a presentation for the board to offer an HSA to our staff. We know we've had a presentation, but I think we should, like the support staff asked for it during the contract negotiations. They asked for an HSA. They said they would prefer it. And I think, I'm gonna put together a plan, to present to the school board.
Oh, okay.
As to what, what we would pay and what the premium would be and all.
And what an HSA really is, because you have to educate me there.
Yeah, but
I'll say
it was Terry Terry Donovan that actually stated that.
Right.
But that didn't come from from the mouths of,
Right,
you know, so, I mean, definitely, it's definitely worth a talk,
I
but
want-
the way
well-
I felt when they were talking about
Right.
it was more of coming, maybe someone mentioned it and
Right.
Terry had said it,
right,
but it didn't seem like it was supported or,
right.
or known by everyone.
Well, they probably, yeah, they're probably like Greg, but I wanna put together a presentation to the school board.
So this would be above and beyond their health insurance that they get now?
Right, and they agreed, in fact, 2 years ago, when we were negotiating with the teachers, they said you can add HSA, we don't care, it doesn't have to be in the contract. And the support staff, at least their negotiator brought it up in negotiations.
You don't mean in lieu of health insurance,
No,
right? You just
it'd
mean-
be an addition, another
Yeah,
option
because
for them.
I looked into that one time at Prospect Mountain, and it was, you saved the FICA on whatever they put in the HSA, and
Right,
then you had to pay, I think it was approximately $250 per employee.
right, well, that's what I'm gonna look at.
Yeah,
I'm gonna.
But when
I'm
I
gonna
looked
research
at
that.
it was almost a break even.
Yeah, but if that's the case, I won't,
Yeah.
then I won't do the presentation, I just wanna take. a
I'm
look
just
at
letting you know,
Right.
it was, but it was a benefit, so,
Right.
Yeah.
Well, if it's break even, you don't care, do you?
No, no, it's
That would
usually-
be okay.
Yeah.
If you know what it
Yeah.
costs, it doesn't hurt the district.
exactly.
Yeah.
But you'd have to, but there was a point where you broke even. You had to have so many people participate in order to break even.
Right, well, that's
So
what
are you thinking about putting this into negotiations this year as a?
No, I would just, no, we
Just
just
offer it in
negotiate, just
general?
offer it. Why put it why have something else in the contract, or we can just offer it? Both unions have said we could offer it without putting in the contract, so if it makes sense, just offer it.
Yeah,
And
and we could just say that we have to have at least X number of people to be
Right,
able to offer.
right, and I think the people probably,
To ensure that
the
this is-
support staff who probably would find it more amenable, because they may save a lot of money.
And it would be break even if an agency manned it, because that's usually what happens.
We'll
is
have
the
to find
HSA
out.
has to-
That's, when I looked
Find
into it, and I only looked into
Yeah.
it very briefly, like she
Yeah.
said, there had to be like 10 people or something that participated.
Yeah, the big thing that we want to make sure is that that's, unless you want to hire some more people to work here, that that's not something we manage.
Right.
No, I'd be calling it LGC
Yeah,
offers.
that's true.
LGC offers an HSA as part of their insurance.
Yeah, they
plan.
do.
So that's what I'm gonna.
And I wanna say it was like $250. I
Do
forget,
we
but
want
I did look
LGC to
into
come and
it.
do a presentation?
Well, they did once, they did
Oh, they
already.
did.
So we already know what their rates are and stuff, but basically what the plan, what we have to figure out is how much we wanna put for the deductible
Uh-huh.
and how much.
Oh, were you thinking about the district putting in the deductible?
Well, that's one thing, that'd be something I
I
would.
was, see, when I looked into it, I was having the
Or
employees
maybe,
do it.
or maybe even just the first year put the deductible, so they have that money there, because what happens is, well, anyway.
Well, we'll put
I
it
don't
on the
want-
agenda
I'll
for
wait
we'll
and
the
have
see
to-
what
next
they-
yeah.
future meeting.
The
If
person,
I look at it and it looks feasible, and make the presentation. we'll
the
talk about
person
that.
you wanna talk to at LGC is Debbie Clayton.
Yeah, okay,
She's our person.
all right, yeah, because if you go to school care, because you don't have the rest of their plans, and you can't get a big enough group of people to do it.
Yeah, I don't think school care will look at you.
You guys can talk about this, it's 10 o'clock.
Yep.
All right,
We done?
motion to adjourn.
All those in favor,
Aye.
besides 3 seconds.